not going to be doing live comments this afternoon because I've got a lot of stuff to get through this afternoon. Not only have we got commentary of Burnley against Chelsea this afternoon, we've got coverage as well. We're going to have updates of all the other games from around the country. We're just having one or two technical errors to get the game going, but we will be back with you shortly. Hopefully we'll be back there shortly, but I'll acquaint you with the two teams nearer the time in just a second or two. But there's quite a good atmosphere building before the match, and should be a cracking little game this afternoon. But Burnley really needing the points here. Sean Dyche, his 8th year in charge at the club. This has probably been his toughest test, no doubt, by far. Should be an absolute cracker, that is for sure. We'll keep, as I said, we'll keep you abreast every so often of all the other scores that flying around the country. Because we'll also, at the end of the afternoon, we'll give you a full classified check as well of what's been going on, and then if you I'll give you a full classified check of what's been going on. This is the Burnley lineup, just to remind you. Westwood's actually going to play on the right, which is a bit of a worry, really, because when you look at the team, it's with no Goodmanson now for a little while, it's very difficult. So the lineup is Pope in goal, back four of Lawton at right back, Taylor at left back, Tarkowski along the two centre halves, Ben Mee still not fit enough to return to the lineup. And then in the midfield area, we've got Dwight McNeil on the left. Brownhill and Stevens will play in the centre, with Westwood out on the right. And then up front, it's Chris Wood and Ashley Barnes in a 4-4-2. Let's look at Chelsea's lineup. I think we're going to see Chelsea in just a minute. Yeah, we are 4-3-3 that Lampard's playing today. We've got Mendy in goal. So Arisa Balaga is not even amongst the 18. And the back four of Reece James at right back, Ben Chilwell at left back, Zuma and Silva, who's the captain, the two centre halves. And then we've got a midfield three of Kante, who's the holding midfielder, with Mason Mount and Ziyech either side of him in the central areas. And then, in fact, Thibaut Werner's come in as a late replacement for Christian Pulisic. He's obviously been injured in the warm-up, so Thibaut Werner will come in, which leaves 6 on the bench, alongside Abraham and Havertz. So no Pulisic. Obviously he's injured himself in the warm-up for this one, so we're going to have to cross him out and put Werner in on the notes. And so Werner, who was originally amongst the substitutes now. So let's have a look at the substitutes. Burnley now got 7 to choose from, and that is Peacock Farrell, Robbie Brady, Jay Rodriguez, Mattia Vidra, Max Thompson, one of the youngsters, Jimmy Dunn, and another youngster there, Lewis Richardson. So Chelsea now down to 6 because of Pulic's pull out, because he's had to pull out. That's the big team news. So it's Caballero on the bench for Chelsea now. We've got only 6 of them now. Caballero's the goalkeeper, and of course Jorginho, Olivier Giroud, Callum Hudson-Odoi, Cesar Azpilicueta and Antonio Rudiger are the substitutes. So we're all set to go, just waiting on the two teams to emerge, of course, from the tunnel. And of course we'll bring you the minute silence from Nobby Stiles. Of course, sad news that Nobby Stiles has passed away this afternoon, or passed away a couple of days ago. We've also heard on football related that Sean Connery, the former James Bond actor, has died at the age of 90. And then at 5 o'clock Boris Johnson's going to address the nation, but don't tune over to him until we've given you the full classified results from this afternoon up and down the land. And of course, let's keep you up to date. Earlier today, let's read through what's been going on elsewhere in the football world this afternoon. There was an early kick-off at Bramall Lane between Sheffield United and Manchester City. Let's see what happened in that game, and let's just check that out. And in fact it was so just to confirm, Pulisic was injured in the warm-up. Full time at Bramall Lane, Sheffield United 0, Manchester City 1. Kyle Walker, who was a boy of Sheffield United fan growing up, with the only goal of the game assisted by Kevin De Bruyne after 28 minutes. Liverpool play this evening a little bit later on, of course, in as well. They actually play West Ham at 3:30 in the there's going to be some, and there's going to be some Scottish Premier League action as well. 2 games: Dundee United against Ross County and Livingston Motherwell, and Hearts are Burnley in the Scottish Cup semi-final, and all Edinburgh Derby that kicks off at 5 o'clock. In the Championship, one result that's just been played: Bristol City 1, Norwich City 3. The goal scorers in that one: Pookie with 2 quick-fire goals, 6 minutes and 14 minutes. Hunt then responded back for Bristol City to make it 2-1 after 15, and then Blood Maida made it 3-1 in the 2nd minute of added on time at the end of the first half, and that's how the game finished. So that's a very good win there for Norwich, and Bristol City just tailing off a little bit at the moment under Dean Holden. 3 o'clock games in the Championship: Barnsley against Watford, Bournemouth play Derby, Luton take on Brentford, Middlesbrough against Nottingham Forest, Millwall against Huddersfield, Preston against Birmingham, QPR take on Cardiff, Stoke against Rotherham, Swansea against Rovers, and Wycombe v Sheffield Wednesday. In League 1, we've also got an early game going on there. Gillingham 0, Sunderland 2. That's still going at the moment. Maguire with a penalty after 84 minutes. Lyndon Gooch with a goal at the end there. Still playing. In fact, the whistle's just gone. So a 2-0 victory against Gillingham there for Sunderland. Good result there for Sunderland. Accrington against Plymouth, that's been postponed due to the fact that a lot of Accrington players sadly are down self-isolating with suspected COVID-19 symptoms. The rest of the games are 3 o'clock. Burton against Blackpool, Doncaster against Lincoln City, Fleetwood against Oxford, Ipswich against Crewe, MK Dons against Wimbledon, Peterborough against Shrewsbury, Portsmouth against Charlton, Rochdale against Bristol Rovers, Swindon against Hull, and Wigan take on Northampton. Been an early game as well in League 2 at St James's Park, Exeter. A winning goal from Parks 2 minutes into the second half, giving Exeter a very good victory there, and a 700-mile wasted trip there for Carlisle. The rest of the games are 3 o'clockers, starting with Barrow against Bradford, Cheltenham against Forest Green Rovers, Crawley Town against Cambridge, Leyton Orient against Bolton Wanderers, Mansfield Town against Walsall, Newport against Harrogate, Salford against Oldham, a bit of a Paul Scholes derby down there because Paul Scholes is in temporary charge at Salford, former Oldham's athletic manager. Southend against Port Vale, Stevenage against Grimsby, and Tranmere against Morecambe. National League, a couple of games postponed. Boreham Wood off against Dagenham and Redbridge. Halifax is off against Wealdstone, and Wrexham and Sutton also postponed due to COVID-19 symptoms, I suspect. The other games are going ahead at 3 o'clock, and they are Bromley against Eastleigh, Dover against Altrincham, Kingsland against Woking, Maidenhead United against Solihull Moors, Stockport County against Weymouth, Yeovil against Chesterfield, and Hartlepool and Torquay, and a late kick-off at 5:20. In the National League North, early game there, Bradford Park Avenue 0, Chorley 0, and then the rest of the games kick off at 3. Fire against Farsley Celtic, Telford against Alfreton, Curzon Ashton against Darlington, Gloucester against Chester, Guardsley and Brackley postponed due to COVID-19 as Burnley make their way out onto the field. Kidderminster against Blythe Spartans, Lymington against Gateshead off, Southport against Boston, Spennymoor against Hereford, and then finally National Leagues will also bring you FA Trophy games. There's so many there, but Colne are involved today, South Shields, but we'll give you some selected FA Trophy scores as well from around the country as well. FC United in action against Marsk United, and one or two others as well. So the FA Trophy weren't really underway there. I think it's the FA Trophy, or is it the FA Vase? No, it's the FA Trophy. Cover away at Ashton United as well. What a number of games there towards the end. I'll just give you the National League South fixtures. Billericay against Ebbsfleet, Braintree against Hemel Hempstead, Dartford against Aberdeen Waterlooville, Dulwich Hamlet against Chelmsford City, Eastbourne Bury against Reading, Hungerford Town against Dorking Wanderers, Maidstone against Concord Rangers, Oxford City against Hampton and Richmond, Slough against Bath, and St Albans City against Chipperton Town. All those games on. Lowland League, we don't need to know about that. As well, we've got Irish Premiership. Atalanta winning against Crotone 2-1 there in the Serie A. Some Bundesliga games going on. Bayern Munich winning against Cologne. Belfield against Borussia Dortmund. We've lost once again. We've lost the pictures. We will get your commentary of the game. Let me just bring you up to date with the two teams. So let's start with Burnley. Let's go. Let's crack on with the match then at Turf Moor. Burnley with Pope in goal, Lawton, Long, Tarkowski and Taylor, Westwood, Stevens, Brownhill, McNeil, Barnes and Wood up top. On the bench we've got Peacock, Farrell, we've got Brady, we've got Rodriguez, we've got Matty Vidra, we've got Max Thompson who's on the bench. We've also got Jimmy Dunn and Lewis Richardson, and that's spells for the last post. Yes, well respected there. Just a period of silence, and of course there was also in that period of silence a tribute there to Nobby Stiles, who's died this week, aged uh, 78. So we're all set to go then on Twitch. The JB Claret Twitch, or the JB Sports Twitch channel. Should be a cracker this one, that is for sure. They take the knee, as they do customary, and away we go. Tammy Abrams gets us up and running. Chelsea, of course, all in blue. They're going to attack the Jimmy McElroy end away to my right hand side. Burnley, of course, need I tell you, in claret and blue, and I think they're going to attack the goal to our left. That's the to our right. Sorry, that's the Jimmy McElroy, not the Jimmy McElroy, the cricket field stand. Got a little bit tongue-tied there. We'll keep you up to date with all the other scores as they, all the other goals that go in as the ball is knocked back there by Thiago Silva wearing number 6. He's also the captain today. Westwood's the Burnley captain in the absence still of Ben Mead. The referee today comes from Nottingham. That's David Coote. He's assisted today by Gary Bezic on the far side. Nick Hopton on the near side. The fourth official is John Moss. And the two VAR referees are Anthony Taylor, and he's assisted today by Andy Halliday down at Stockley Park. And we're about 55 seconds in. Chelsea have possession with Mendy, their new goalkeeper. Head-to-heads, they played 12. Burnley have only achieved the one win. That was a 3-2 win in 2017 in August when they won 3-2 against Antonio Conte's then champions. They've had 3 draws, and Chelsea have won 8 times. Last year they won quite well, 5-1. Form guide, Burnley have lost 4 of their first 5. Chelsea have drawn 3, lost and won 1 of their last 5. They're starting in 11th. Burnley starting in 18th place. And the first goal kick of the game is for Burnley. Oh, in fact, a free kick for an offside decision. As yeah, he was just caught there offside. As we join you here then, 0-0. Burnley and Chelsea in action this afternoon. Don't forget, folks, that we're going to stream some of the Burnley 3 o'clockers now on Twitch. Get some news out the side. And our new Twitch channel is, of course, is JB Sports 1. For those of you who are that way inclined and are enjoying our commentaries at the moment. Should be an enjoyable afternoon, and of course, compliments of the Halloween season, of course, to you all. Hopefully, we'll have some strange but great goings on in the football world this afternoon as well. We'll keep, as I said, we'll keep you up to date with what's going on the elsewhere. No is the score as Thiago Silva takes possession here, finds number 21 here, which is Chilwell, the former Leicester City player. Chelsea, for all their signings, haven't made the best possible starts yet. Still 0-0. Just checking we were just on sound there on Twitch. Of course, we gave you a preview on YouTube, and of course, if you can't get access to Twitch, we will be replaying it live on the JB Sports YouTube channel a bit later on. So here on JB1 Twitch channel and on JB Sports a little later on, we've got you Burnley versus Chelsea. No live comment section because we've a lot to do. I will choose the JB man in the match this afternoon from the nice pleasant perch, but a bit windy perch here up in the James Hargreaves stand, right perched right on top. Here's Matt Lowton now on the right hand side, gets a long ball in there, and that's a good ball and a chance here for Barnes. He chips Mendy, but he also hits it over the crossbar. Credit to Mendy, he came out to him lightning fast with a good start from Burnley. Ball over the top from Lowton. Barnes was definitely onside as the ball was played, so if it had gone to VAR, the goal would have still stood if it had gone in, but it would have been his first touch there, just takes it away from him a little bit, and then Mendy comes out lightning fast and just does enough to put off the man from Bristol, or the man born in Bath. Started his career way back in the old, a few years ago at Plymouth. Moved on to Brighton, had decent success there. Then moved on to Burnley for about 250,000, and has had a really good few years there. And into his 7th season at the club now, Ashley, nicknamed Hi by the Burnley supporters. They when they're at the ground, they sing Hi Ashley Barnes. That's one of his. That's one of the great chants there. But Burnley have made a starving start. Mendy called into action early on, not to save, but to just put Ashley Barnes off a little bit. 5 minutes gone. Burnley 0, Chelsea 0. Just to remind you, team news: no Peters, no me, no Barnsley. He's out self-isolating through COVID-19, and no Jack Cook with the ankle. So 3 or 4 players off there. Goodmanson out as well. So 5 players out for Burnley. Pulisic was also in the starting 11 for Chelsea. The big news for Chelsea was that Pulisic had got injured in the warm-up, so Timo Werner was taking his place in a front 3 that also includes Kai Havertz and Tammy Abraham. 4-3-3 Chelsea are playing this afternoon, and they're the men in blue, and they have a throw-in on the far side. Havertz now takes possession from the throw, but in goes Dale Stevens, signed of course from with the 2 new faces that Burnley brought in the summer, which was a complete disappointment to a lot of people around these parts, as the boys left it in there towards Ashley Barnes. Chris Wood's up alongside him. He's number 9 as opposed to 11. I don't know why we got him as number 11. We've got Dark McNeil at number 11, so number 9 should be Chris Wood. I remember him wearing number 9 when he first came to the club. So Wood wears 9, just to get rid of some confusion. But Pulisic, you've got a hat-trick here last season, doesn't start this year, and isn't even on a subs bench as well because he's injured. So Chelsea now have 6 substitutes to select from. Burnley have the full complement of 7. including 2 youngsters, Max Thompson and Lewis Richardson. 7 minutes gone. Burnley 0, Chelsea 0 here on JB Twitch channel. The JB Sports Twitch channel, JB Sports 1 we've had to call it, because we tried to call it JB Sports, but we had to select a different name because the actual name we wanted, JB Sports, was already taken up. So we've changed it to JB Sports 1, and of course you'll be able to hear it on the YouTube channel as well. It's bullshit, number 19. Mount tries to play a 1-2 with Tammy Abraham. It breaks down, and now the ball's over on the far side, and David Coote gives a free kick against Reece James for a foul on Dwight McNeil. They've played in the 21s football for England together in the past, so a real opportunity here for McNeil to really take Reece James on. McNeil's actually signed a new 5-year deal with Turf Moor. Looked back to his best in the last couple of games, especially against West Brom, when he made a lot of things happen. Burnley will feel very, very disappointed with their return from their first 5 games. They should have won against Southampton here. They should have won against West Brom the other Monday. They should have really taken something from Tottenham on Monday night, but they were beaten by a late goal from Son Heung-min. And they have to play with that same intensity this afternoon, as the ball is swept into the Chelsea penalty area towards Chris Wood, but it's knocked away. Westwood picks up the loose ball and then just wisely actually gets the ball back to Nick Pope. He'll kick long. Nick Pope's form's improved since he made his England debut made his first ever England start against Wales in the last international break. That will be the friendly game. He was on the bench for the other 2 Nations League matches, as Chilwell has possession down on the left hand side. Backing field once more to Thiago Silva? Yep, Thiago Silva now plays it to Kurt Zouma. Zuma has possession, but Barnes is tracking him all the while. 9 minutes gone here at Turf Moor. Burnley 0, Chelsea 0. We'll keep you abreast with all the Football League scores as we get them this afternoon, live for you. And in fact, when we hit the 10-minute mark and when we get our next breaking play, we'll give you some latest scores from around the country. As the ball is lifted in there, and Havertz with a header, but it's straight into the arms of Nick Pope, and Burnley quell that particular danger. Good crossing there from the far side by Ziyech, and it was an easy one for the goalkeeper. So elsewhere at the moment, Barnsley 1, Watford 0, Bournemouth 0, Derby 0, Luton Brentford 0-0, Millwall 0, Huddersfield 0, Preston 0, Birmingham 1 at Deepdale, and the rest of the games as well 0-0. Blake would have scored in League 1 there, 1 up against Oxford, and there's no other goals elsewhere in League 1. In League 2, Cambridge have scored against Crawley. Leyton Orient lead Bolton by a goal to 0. No goals elsewhere. No goals in the National League. No goals as yet in the National League North. And there has been a goal in the National League South game between Eastbourne Borough and Welling. That's 1-0 there. And in Scotland, Dundee United 0, Ross County 0, and Livingston 0, Motherwell 0. So there are all the latest scores as we have them for you. As there's a huge breeze. It's going to be blowing behind Chelsea, I think, in the first half. It's certainly blowing in Chelsea's favour, so they're kicking with the wind behind them. This is Werner on the left-hand side rather. Now number 21 Ben Chilwell, signed from Leicester City, plays a lovely ball out to the other flank where Reece James was waiting. Charlie Taylor read the situation very well. Now Stevens gets possession inside his own half, finds Ashley Westwood, but he runs into trouble into the shape of Kai Havertz. Now Reece James takes it up on the far side, still just inside the Burnley half, but now it goes back into the Chelsea half, but it's with Zuma and Thiago Silva, the signing from PSG. Dispossessed by Barnes, illegally, says Mr. Coote from Nottingham, and a free kick to Chelsea. Just inside their own half, they've taken it quickly. Here comes Ben Chilwell now. He's tasted a little bit of a defeat here at Turf Moor in his last days. Nice ball played there from number 19 Mason Mount towards Reece James on the far side, and the ball played in, and it's an easy one for Tarkowski on the edge of his own 6-yard area to clear. Gets it up towards halfway inside his own half, and out for a throw in for Chelsea on the far side, which Reece James takes now. Finds Zuma with it. Now it's back on halfway with Thiago Silva just inside the Burnley half. Here's Mason Mount taking possession, trying to twist one player and another, trying to take away Westwood out of it. Did well to shake off his advances, but he wasn't getting too far forward. And Havertz gets away from McNeil. I think his defensive asset of the game still needs to be worked upon. The ball played in there towards Mount, who cushions the header. Now Werner on the edge of the box. Chelsea now starting to take the game by the scruff of the neck. Ziyech playing the ball in from just from the left of the D, and it was hooked away. Now Mount has it. He's got Chilwell on the other left. Ziyech has the ball again. Still 0-0. Kante now. And Chelsea having a lot of possession. Ziyech again takes possession. Chilwell is onside on the near side as he gets the ball in there from the left hand side. The ball doesn't run dead. Reece James keeps it in. Now this could be a problem. The ball knocked back, but Kevin Long reads the situation. Or rather, Dale Stevens, reads the situation and finds Dwight McNeil, who keeps it in to his credit, but then in turn loses it to Kurt Zouma. And here come Chelsea once again. Burnley on the back foot at the moment. 0-0. Just to remind you, VAR referee today, Anthony Taylor. He's assisted today by Andy Halliday. And the ball actually is going out of play. And I think it will be a Burnley throw. Frank Lampard's men reached the cup final last year, finished 4th under a transfer embargo last year. Couldn't sign any new players. Had to rely on some of the academy boys like Mason Mount, and which he had in his time at Derby, and one or two other players, and did really well on those resources. Got them to 4th after a slow start. They were beaten in their first match, I remember last season, 4-0 against Manchester United. It was a difficult afternoon for Frank Lampard that day, but since then they've really picked up. They got to the cup final, which they lost of course to Arsenal. Christian Pulisic, I've just seen can't play. He's the one covered in the face mask, of course. We're all having to suffer from COVID-19. Boris Johnson's in fact addressing the UK at around about just after 5 o'clock, and I'm sure I'll be taking a look after that once commentary is finished here on that. But stay with us here live on JB Sports Twitch. Of course, you'll hear the game back on YouTube as well. Here's Kurt Zouma, who has it in the midfield, finds in N'Golo Kante. Kante back to Thiago Silva wearing number 6. We'll also take our normal 10 minute break for half time, and then acquaint you with the half time score lines. We'll also get a check in about 5 or 6 minutes time of all the latest scores in the Championship and Scotland as well. Here's Mason Mount on the ball for Chelsea on the left hand side, back inside to Kante. Remember, Sheffield United 0, Manchester City 1 was the result from earlier today at Bramall Lane. A goal from Kyle Walker after 28 minutes deciding matters there in South Yorkshire. Here's a chance now for Reece James to get across again. Oh, and he beat everyone there. Werner, I think, trying to get on the blind side, and also I think there was another player who fell in the goal as well. Here's Kante now on the left hand side, back in field again. Here's number 6 Thiago Silva. Chelsea still starting to ask 1 or 2 questions here. This is worrying moments here for Burnley. Header 1 and over the top inside the penalty area from Tammy Abraham. I think Nick Pope got a flick on that to tip it over the bar. He did, and it's a Chelsea corner. Yeah, he got a good couple of hands on that, did Pope. Couldn't take no chances. That was actually dropping closer than one initially thought. Perilously close to going under that crossbar, but Pope couldn't take, as you can imagine, no risks. Zouma, Chilwell, Thiago forward for this corner to be taken on the far side. Back is played back to Reece James on the edge of the penalty area. James shoots right-footed, deflects. Still with Chelsea. Burnley having a little bit of a job to get it away at the moment. Dale Stevens a bit up and under. Kevin Long having to work and get his neck muscles away, and then in the end McNeil hooks it out and gets it over halfway, which shall be a little bit of relief for Burnley. They can come out of their shell a little bit in defence. 16.5 minutes gone here at Stamford Bridge, or rather at Turf Moor, sorry. Burnley 0, Chelsea 0. Burnley have not won in the Premier League against Chelsea. In fact, you have to go back to 1978 in the old Division 2, which is now known as the Championship. Billy Ingham, the late Billy Ingham, Ginger Pele with the winning goal against Chelsea in in that one. 77-78 you'd have to go back to for the last time Burnley beat Chelsea in a league match here at Turf Moor. This was the chance again inside the penalty area. It was Reece James with the cross, and it was towards, in fact, Ben Chilwell, who went flying in there, but it was well behind him anyway as he tried to nod it forward, and there was no foul there. There's no doubt about that. It would have taken something enormous proportions for VAR to potentially overturn that against Josh Brownhill, former Preston player, signed from Bristol City, of course. Talented individual, signed in January as well, before all this COVID stuff hit. Burnley wants a free kick for Fallon Barnes, not given, and here's Charlie Taylor looking to get himself going down that side, and sort of runs out of room. Mind you, he was put under pressure by one or two of the Chelsea players, and the ball ran out of play, and Burnley see another attack break down here. It's a deserted Turf Moor, and usually if you've got the fans in for this sort of game, Chelsea would not enjoy it as much because it's an hostile atmosphere. I think the reason why they've struggled at home a little bit is because of the crowd, because when they've got the crowd on side here, Burnley, they usually are into their mojo, and it has been difficult with the lockdown and stuff. And I still believe that if you can open theatres, the London Palladium up, you can open football grounds up. I heard Delia Smith this week calling for the grounds to be opened up, social distance, of course, naturally. And I think that's a complete disgrace when the government can allow a Julian Clary play at the London Palladium to go on, but they can't allow several thousand social distance football supporters to enter our grounds. I think it's a complete and utter disgrace. And also, I honestly think we need the atmosphere back. It's no fun doing commentaries with no crowd noise or ambience and all that, and it's sad. I think it's sad to see. Anyway, still 0-0 if you've just joined us, and Burnley 0, Chelsea 0. Barnes has come close, Chilwell's come close for Chelsea, but at the moment, and Nick Pope's had to make a save from a Tammy Abraham header. Apart from that, nothing much else to write home about. Just the big news before the start. Christian Pulisic, who scored a hat-trick in the corresponding fixture last season in a 5-2 victory for Chelsea, ended up injured in the warm-up. So Timo Werner, who was initially announced as one of the substitutes, has come in Pulisic's place. And here is the aforementioned Werner. The flag has stayed down. He's on the near side. He takes on the defender Lawton and plays the ball in, and it's hooked away by one of the Burnley defenders. I think it might have been Josh Brown or Dale Stevens, actually. Dale Stevens got back there and stopped any potential damage there on Burnley. 20 minutes gone on the JB Sports Twitch channel, JB Sports 1 Twitch channel, I should say. It's important that we put the 1 in there. And here come Chelsea with Reece James, far side, back in field once more. Chelsea do look a very accomplished side, going forward, and the ball in towards the far post, where Ben Chilwell was lurking, but he couldn't reach it. The ball goes behind the dead ball line, and behind for a goal kick for Burnley, which will give them a little bit of respite. There's no two ways about that. I'll try and read a few of the comments as well as we go along this afternoon. It is difficult as well to try and bring you all this as well as we attempt to go along here, but we will do our best to try and do that for you. It's a great, as I say, it's a great advert, all this as well. So the ball had a play. There were one or two messages as well, but I don't know if they've actually appeared on there. No, I can actually see at the moment, but anyway, we'll muscle on, and we'll bring you some later scores as soon as we get some in a minute. As soon as we get a breaking play around about the 25th minute mark, we'll bring you up to date with what's going on in the Championship and elsewhere. And of course, we'll bring you full classified results around about 5 o'clock for you as well, after the final whistle here at Turf Moor, where Kurt Zouma has the ball here for Chelsea, but he's hustled out of it there. Barnes and Zouma having a little bit of a set to there, midway inside the Chelsea half, but the referee David Coote is playing on, He's given the game every chance to flow here. And if you haven't seen the video on YouTube about my views on the Burnley takeover deal, tune in and watch that for us, please. Anyway, here's the ball chipped into the penalty area from number 21 there, which is Ben Chilwell, but it runs dead, and then Burnley hook it out. At the moment, Burnley really aren't getting their act together here as far as ambition is concerned in attacking Chelsea. They're the home team. The responsibility is really on them. Burnley really need to get 3 points this afternoon. Even one wouldn't take them out the bottom three. They need to win. I'm sure Sean Dyche himself is aware of that. But I think David Coote is the key here. He has to referee this sensibly. He has to be fair to both teams. There's been many a referee at Turbo over the years where he's given plenty to the bigger teams but none to the home team, which is very, very difficult. Which is very difficult as a self-confessed claret to take. But at the moment, Chelsea certainly on top. You can't argue with that. Burnley just have been very solid defensively, but it's going forward where they've looked a little short. And allowing Chelsea to play that pass and move game. But sometimes, though, in a way, it's a bit like boxing sometimes. Like, for example, if you look at Nigel Benn against Chris Eubank, Nigel Benn, the puncher, and obviously Burnley, the Chris Eubank. I don't like, Chris Eubank's still a legend. I know he got a lot of stick in the past, but he was a boxer. He was a proper boxer. Nigel Benn was a warrior. And the thing is, Chelsea are going at Burnley early on, but the more Burnley dig in and keep a clean sheet and go charging forward, they could come up with a little bit of a knockout punch for Chelsea. So let's not say this is a foregone conclusion just yet. But here's Reece James over on the far side. The ball played in, and Tarkowski does really well, and again just sucks it into touch into the ball stand opposite me on the far side. We're halfway through the first half. Burnley 0, Chelsea 0. As soon as we get a big breaking play, a goal kick or something like that, will bring you up to date with all the latest scores in the Championship. That's a crossing from Reece James, well pouched by Nick Pope inside his own 6-yard area. Really under no great pressure, and it gives Burnley a chance to have a little bit of respite as Pope kicks long, looking for the run of Barnes, and Barnes has been picked up beautifully. Now Brownell has it in the centre of midfield, gets it over to the far side. Oh, that's a poor first touch from Dwight McNeil, and the ball runs down right in front of Frank Lampard on the far side. That was poor from Dwight McNeil. He needs to be a little less lazy when he's on the ball. He needs to get back to that fearless Dwight McNeil when I first saw him a couple of years ago. Remember the match at Huddersfield where he ran the show and he looked at an absolute fearless tiger. It's just it's not happening at the moment. He signed a new 5-year deal, but he needs to show more quality, I think. Tarkowski up against Havertz, and Tarkowski wins that particular battle, dispossesses Havertz, but he then loses the ball. Having won that particular battle, still 0-0 here. Here's Kante now 10 yards inside the Burnley half, inside the centre circle. Gets it out to the far side again. Zuma. This is very difficult now for Burnley now. Reece James with another good cross, and Kevin Long, right place, right time on the edge of the 6-yard area, nodding in the way. Now a chase on for Barnes against Zuma, and then there's a player slipped over. I hope he hasn't penalised Chris Wood for that. Oh, he has. That's ridiculous. Silva clearly slipped, and David Coote has penalised Chris Wood for absolutely nothing. That's an unfair advantage, and it could turn out to be profitable for Chelsea. What a tackle that is! What a tackle that is from Charlie Taylor, but then he gives the ball away, though, in doing that. Now, Ziyech now finds Werner. Werner hooks the ball back. Abraham touches it, and the shot goes in. It goes into the back of the net, and that all came from a poor refereeing decision. That all came from a poor refereeing decision when Chris Wood clearly did not take out Thiago Silva. The ball must have took a deflection, and Burnley have another setback. It's Ziyech who gets his first Premier League goal, and it's a disappointing moment there. Charlie Taylor gave the ball away. Werner hooked the ball back. Burnley were not tight enough with the marking and have paid the price, but it all started about 2 minutes beforehand when the referee, in my opinion, gave a very iffy 3 kick to Chelsea, and that's not enough. That really has not gone down too well, but neither has the Burnley defending there. Stevens should be tighter on him, and where was Nick Pope there? Not good enough by half, the Burnley defending. Burnley again against, let's face it, more superior opposition. I've got it all to do again. We're live here on Twitch, on the JB Sports 1 Twitch channel. Burnley 0, Chelsea 1, Ziyech 26 minutes. Well, it's frankly a disappointing state of affairs at the moment here at the turf. Very lucky, I have to say, Ziyech. There's no doubt about that. He's a good player, but on the balance of play, it's what Chelsea deserve, I think, on the balance of play. And I say that with gritted teeth. That's his first, as I said, first league goal. Elsewhere, we've got some. I'll give you some score lines elsewhere in a moment, so we can give you the Scottish scores. Dundee United 1, Ross County 0, and Livingston 0, Motherwell 1. Derby have taken the lead. Barnsley 1, Watford 0. This is the Championship. Barnsley 1, Watford 0. Bournemouth 0, Derby 1. Luton 0, Brentford 2. Middlesbrough 0, Notts Forest 0. Millwall 0, Huddersfield 1. Preston 1, Birmingham 1. QPR 1, Cardiff 0. Stoke 1, Rotherham 0. Swansea 1, Blackburn 0. Yes, go on Swansea. And Wickham 0, Sheffield Wednesday 0. Still 1-0. But Chelsea starting an attack. We'll just quickly give you League 1 at the moment. Burton 0, Blackpool 1. Doncaster Lincoln 0-0. Fleetwood 1, Oxford 0, Ipswich 0, Crewe 0. Here come Chelsea again inside the penalty area. Werner with a cross back. This could be trouble. Taylor gets away. It's a throw to Chelsea. NK Dons 1, Wimbledon 1. Real grudge match there. Peterborough 1, Shrewsbury 1. Portsmouth 0, Charlton 1. In the battle of the former Premier League boys. Rochdale 1, Bristol Rovers 1, Swindon 0, Hull 1, and Wigan 0, Northampton 2. And in League 2, Barrow 1, Bradford 0, Cheltenham 1, Forest Green 0, Crawley 0, Cambridge 1, Leyton Orient 1, Bolton 0, Mansfield Walsall goalless, Newport 1, Harrogate 0, Salford 1, Oldham 0, Southend 0, Port Vale 0, Stevenage 0, Grimsby 0, Tranmere Morecambe 0-0. In the National League, Dover 0, Altrincham 1, Kingsley 1, Woking 0, Maidenhead 0, Solihull 0, Stockport 0, Weymouth, Stockport 1, Robert Weymouth 0, Yeovil 0, Chesterfield 0. Darlington winning at Curzon in National League North, so to Kidderminster at home to Blythe Spartans, and so to Boston at home to Southport. In the South, it's Billericay 0, Ebbsfleet 1, Braintree and Hemel Hempstead 1-1, Eastbourne 1, Welling 0, and Maidstone 1, Concord Rangers 0, St Albans 1, Chippenham Town 0. The rest of the games in that league 0-0 as things stand, and we'll check elsewhere a bit later on. But at the moment, with 29 minutes gone, it's Burnley 0, Chelsea 1, and it's turning into a really, sadly, a disastrous season here for Burnley. Just can't buy a win. It might be Brighton next week now before we might get an inch of our first victory here. But Burnley, traditionally, when they go down in the Premier League, don't tend to come back. And it was a sloppy goal to concede, but the referee didn't help, in my opinion. I thought there was not a foul on Chris Wood at all in the build-up to that. As Wood tried to get on the right side of Zuma, I don't think that's a foul either by Chris Wood. I think David Coote has got it in for Burnley a little bit this afternoon. But having said all that, Burnley have defended pathetically there on the goal. Burnley have had 21% possession. That's hardly surprising. 79% again for Chelsea. Again, that's hardly surprising, but Chelsea have made the dominance count, and I don't think there's much doubt about that. And they've struck the first knockout blow of the match. 1-0 they lead after 26 minutes when scored by Ziyech. And here they come, Burnley now looking to try and get back into this. They've got to try and push forward now. They've just been so, apart from the first 5 minutes, they have just been so in their shell. What is going on here? I know it's Chelsea and I know they're a superior opposition. Brownhill wins a free kick. Now then. And he doesn't allow, he allows Chelsea to take a free kick quickly, but he doesn't allow Burnley. That's a joke as far as I'm concerned from David Coote. He needs to get a grip on this game and referee fairly and sensibly. Here's Westwood with a free kick. It'll be hit high and long now. They need something now, Burnley. They need an equaliser. Because at the moment, the first 31 minutes, it just hasn't been good enough. Here's the ball into towards the penalty area. There's a player gone down there, and the referee not even spotted it. Tarkowski went flying down there. How is that not a free kick? How is that not a free kick. You've given a corner, but the referee should have given a free kick for me. He was not 10 yards away from the incident and didn't give anything other than a corner. In fairness to Tarkowski, he's got up and shrugged it off and got on with it. Burnley can still equalise here. Now, can they get an equaliser? Now to Westwood. Needs to put a teasing corner. He does in towards the penalty area, but Mendy's read that attempted corner very well there. The new Chelsea goalkeeper. Signed from France, of course. Very, very well-established goalkeeper now, Mendy. Looks a good prospect as well. Kept a couple of clean sheets for Frank Lampard's men. Did look a little shaky in the 0-0 last week against Manchester United, where he almost put for his own goal in very comical circumstances. 32 minutes gone here at the Turf. Burnley 0, Chelsea 1 on the JB Sports Twitch channel, JB Sports 1. Of course, we'll be on JB Sports YouTube channel a little bit later on this match as Lawson comes charging forward. I thought that was an unfair tackle that from Mount, but the referee's let that one go. He's letting one or two of these nasty Chelsea challenges go here at the moment. David Coote has been in the headlines for all the wrong reasons with the VAR. I don't think he's winning many friends here this afternoon. If there were fans here, I think there would be an uproar inside Turf Moor right now, as the ball is laid back by Chilwell again, and the ball again laid back towards the goalkeeper. Still, that was Kai Havertz with the pass back to Mendy. Taylor can't keep it in. It's just not been good enough from Burnley. I mean, Sean Dyche must be tearing his hair out. And there's a lot of all the ballroom shenanigans over the last sort of 6 to 8 months have not helped the team, in my opinion, on the field. It's just been one horrible result after another. One draw at West Brom from 6 games now at the moment. There's very little to show for it. Here's Werner on the edge of the area. Thought he might have had the shot. Ziyech might. Reece James on the right hand side. Werner tries to turn. And 2 Burnley defenders having to gang up on him and get the ball forward. But this is going to leave Burnley short-handed, and Burnley get a free kick 10 yards from halfway inside their own half. Zuma with a professional foul. I think that's 2 he's made in the first half alone. I mean, that's a foul there on Wood. I mean, that's a yellow card offence. I've seen less challenges like that giving yellow cards. Kurt Zuma, for me, should be in the book by now. Burnley need to get a grip on this game. Coming up towards the last 10 minutes of the first half. Burnley 0, Chelsea 1, live on Twitch. On the JB Sports 1 Twitch channel. The whole match will be uploaded onto YouTube a bit later on my YouTube channel. The JB Sports YouTube channel. Here comes Ashley Barnes trying to get a cross in. Deflects. Well, I thought that was a corner, but the referee and the linesman have given a goal kick. So it must have come off Ashley Barnes last then, obviously. So a lovely sunny winter's afternoon here at the Turf, but it's not a lovely scoreline if you're a Burnley fan at the moment. Burnley 0, Chelsea 1, and Sean Dyche needs to roll a few heads, I feel, at half time, because the performance in the first half has been sluggish, it's been slow, it's been turgid, and above all, I think some of the pockets of play has been pathetic so far. They need to get a grip on this game. 1-0 to Chelsea rather. Ziyech with the goal. And yeah, it was naff defending on the goal thus far. They really do need to get their heads into the gear. At the moment, it's Burnley 0, Chelsea 1 here at Turf Moor. Headed back by Taylor back to Pope. Just sloppy goals, and I think Pope should take a little responsibility for the goal. I think he should have done much better on the goal. Of course, we'll get comments from Burnley fans as well. Another foul there, and the referee's winning no sympathy with me. Chris Wood, again, he's gone for an honest challenge, and David Coote's penalised him. Now this is ridiculous. Where's all the physicality going out the game? David Coote now is beginning to spoil my afternoon as far as this game is concerned, because is given one or two or three iffy decisions in favour of Chelsea, which is not on really, but this is Chilwell now on the near side. Crosses into the penalty area. Pope was in 2 minds whether to stick or twist, and in the end, Charlie Taylor had to make up his mind for him and hook it out for a corner with Werner right on his heels. This is not a good performance from Burnley at all. There's the cross, and Pope should have gone for that. He should have took it. He was under no great pressure, and a corner, in my opinion, unnecessarily conceded because Nick Pope could not decide whether to stick or twist under no great pressure. The ball's hooked back to the edge of the area. Werner chips it into the area. Abraham with a header, and then hooked away by Kevin Long, who has to take a little bit of responsibility for the goal as well. So too does Dale Stevens, not closing down enough. 1-0 to Chelsea. Ziyech's goal after 26 minutes is the difference. Mendy now has it inside his own area. Just dribbles the ball about at the moment, and it's not looking good for Burnley at the moment. Trailing by a goal to nil. We're playing 38 minutes now of the first half. This is Chilwell now on the ball for Chelsea. Back in field once more to Ziyech. Back to Chilwell once again. Now Mason Mount turns. And then the ball deflects off Josh Brownhill. And now Westwood. They look so unbalanced in midfield. They really do. Here's Ashley Barnes. Westwood. I think Sean Dyche needs to make a change at half time. I'd actually personally get Robbie Brady on and take possibly Brownhill off, or maybe Dale Stevens up perhaps. I don't think Stevens has had his best matches so far for Burnley. As Lawton gets possession, Burnley just forcing themselves back. They need to be braver with their passing. They need to try and get something. They're so negative at the moment here. Kevin Long to James Tarkowski, hooks a ball out there towards Ashley Barnes, who's having to drift to the right at the moment. And then a foul there on Lowton, but Burnley aren't going any further forward. They probably get to about halfway and then decide just to pass it back. Hook a long ball, put Chelsea under a little bit of pressure. They're not doing that at the moment, Burnley, and I'm a staunch claret, and I'm seeing nothing from the guys at the moment. Maybe Charlie Taylor could provide something here. Ball in towards the penalty area. Here's Ashley Barnes, showing they've got to bring something here. McNeil, Taylor's got acres of space on the far side here. Can he measure across? It's a poor one really, and Zuma quite comfortably clears it out for a throw-in, but it's still Burnley pressure now. Can they come on strong in that final 5 minutes? If they could get an equaliser, that could make all the difference in the world here for Burnley. They need something. Rolling to the penalty area. Barnes. Oh, that was poor. He shielded the ball, and I think he knew that there was nobody about, and that's possession gifted away to Chelsea. When Burnley were in a very good situation, and now they're short-handed at the back, but to be fair to Tarkowski, read the one ball well and got it back to Nick Pope. He's had an okay game, James Tarkowski, but we are missing key individuals which would not allow mistakes like this to happen. Barnes, to me, looks off the pace. Wood looks off the pace. The midfield looks off the pace. McNeil is gone more central. He needs to get out on that flank a bit more. He's just simply not been good enough from the first 11 by half from Burnley. The only bright spot really has been Charlie Taylor, and he's done really well. Here he is on the ball now, far side. Burnley 0, Chelsea 1. Last 5 minutes plus stoppage time at the end of the first half at Turf Moor in our 3 o'clock kickoff on the Twitch channel. You'll need to hear the whole commentary on the JB Sports YouTube channel. Still 1-0. 4 minutes of half time to go. Before half time, rather, and it's still 1-0. We'll check elsewhere for some later scores. We'll just do the Championship and Scotland at the moment, because we won't have too much time before then. At the moment we're just having 1 or 2 technical issues with our results. good at the moment. But Burnley, meanwhile, while I was checking that, have won themselves a corner now. Can Ashley Westwood from the far side produce something here? Finds McNeil. McNeil chips across in there, but it reaches nobody. It's an easy header for Thiago Silva. Now Taylor chips the ball in there again, and again another poor cross. No end product here from the chorus. Well, one there though by Brownhill. Brownhill tries the shot, deflects up in the air, and Burnley still might get on there, and they've been penalised inside the penalty area. Ashley Barnes fouls Thiago Silva, or as a judge to a foul. James Sarkowski as a judge to a foul Thiago Silva. This was the shot deflected. I wouldn't like to say whether that hadn't been deflected. I think that might have caused Mendy one or two troubles. I don't think that's a foul. I think he makes a meal of that, the Brazilian there. I really do. I hate it when players throw themselves to the ground and the referee buys every decision like that in the book and gives the opposition, whoever dives or cheats and tries all that malarkey to win decisions like that. I just find that quite frankly revolting. It's not something I'd like to see in the game. I'm sort of an advocate, along with Sean Dyche, play the game fairly and let's have a fair dibs for both teams. The referee has been far from fair in his refereeing, in my opinion. Here comes Stevens, who is easily muscled out of it there. That was ridiculous play, and he's only made a run for his own back because Werner now has the ball heading towards the Burnley penalty area. He's away from one challenge. He's found a chance here for another shot, and it was Mount with the shot but charged away. But that was poor midfield play from Dale Stevens. Easily bustled off the ball. It was a fair challenge. He's not good enough. He's not been good enough, Dale Stevens. Most of the Burnley 11 today have just not been good enough. They haven't competed as well as I expected. I know we haven't won a single match yet, and you would have thought today, with Chelsea in town, a big upset on the cards potentially, you'd have thought they would have had a real good go at this today, but they haven't so far. Apart from the first 5 minutes, they haven't done enough for me in the first half. Burnley 0, Chelsea 1. Taylor has a free kick just inside the Burnley half on the far side. Gets it towards Barnes. Again, Chelsea clearing their lines, but not very far, mind you. McNeil's drifted towards that far side again. Oh, that's poor. That is poor. That is poor from Dale Stevens. He's misplaced 2 or 3 bad balls in this match. It's not good enough from the former Brighton man. It really isn't. They just need to get a grip here, Burnley. They're not playing well enough. And you can see why Chelsea are winning comfortably 1-0. And a lot of people wouldn't argue with that, that's for sure. I'm a self-confessed claret, and at the moment I'm seeing precious little action from my team, from Burnley Football Club at the moment. The team I grew up supporting, they look in a pale shadow of what they should be at the moment. And they're just not performing, and that could be 2-0 here. Berners in there. Oh, and Kevin Long got lucky because the ball, he got a challenge in, but it came off Berners' leg, and it could have easily through past Pope. Kevin Long was lucky there. That was not great defending. We played 45 minutes. We've got a minute more of stoppage time to come, and I should stress it's a minimum of. Now, can Stevens get Burnley military? And that's not another good. That's a poor ball, and then Wood. I mean, why do the referees... I tell you what, let's just take the physical aspect out of the game then. If referees are going to be so picky about things, this to me is just not acceptable with today's referees. It really isn't. But Dale Stevens again, guilty here. Kevin Long gets lucky for me. The ball's played in, reads the play, but I tell you what, that is just horrible defending. You should be getting better contact to clear that away. And I have to say, about 9 of the 11 here for Burnley have not played well enough, as the referee, Mr. Coutu, himself hasn't had a first half to remember really. Blows for half time, so it's Burnley 0, Chelsea 1. Ziyech's goal after 26 minutes is the difference. I have to say Chelsea, and I say this through gritted teeth, have been, I have to say, very much good value for the lead, and Frank Lampard will be by far the more happier of the two managers. Burnley just haven't got going at all. You'd have thought today would have been a perfect opportunity to show the world and the nation what Burnley are all about, but they've shown nothing of that sort. They haven't competed. They haven't fought. It's been so easy for Chelsea to play football between the lines, and the defending on the goal was, let's face it, very, very sloppy. And there's plenty for Sean Dyche, and he needs to have very, very strong words, I believe, in the dressing room at half time. So as the players make their way off, social distance, of course, Chelsea go behind the James Hargreaves stand, and Burnley down the tunnel in the far right hand corner as I sit. We will leave you for 10 minutes. We'll bring you up to date with all the half-time scores, and then Paul's second half commentary of Burnley against Chelsea will be coming your way as well. We'll take a 10-minute break. I'm going to have a cup of tea and simmer down a little bit, because really it has been a disgustingly poor performance from Burnley. It's been easy for Chelsea, who lead at half-time by 0-0. See you in 10 minutes. Welcome back to a chilly turf ball where Burnley at the moment losing 1-0 to Chelsea in the Premier League. The only 3 o'clock kick-off this afternoon. Let me just give you a check on elsewhere. The scoreline at the moment. Ziyech with the goal incidentally for Chelsea in this commentary after 26 minutes. Right, so we'll just give you a quick check before we go back before we wait for the teams. Half time, so Burnley 0, Chelsea 1. That's our main event here on Twitch this afternoon. In the Scottish Premier League, Dundee United 1, Ross County 0, that's half time, and Livingston 0, Motherwell 2, that's half time. In the Championship, a full time result: Bristol City 1, Norwich 3, and all the rest are half times. Barnsley 1, Watford 0, Bournemouth 0, Derby 1, Luton 0, Brentford 2, Middlesbrough 0, Nottingham Forest 0, Millwall 0, Huddersfield 1, Preston and Birmingham 1-1, QPR 2, Cardiff 0, Stoke 1, Rotherham 0, Swansea 1, Blackburn Rovers 0, Getting, well done Swansea, and Wycombe 1, Sheffield Wednesday 0. Great moment for Wycombe there, could get their first championship win in their history. Earlier today in League 1, Gillingham Sunderland winning 2-0, Accrington off because of COVID-19, Accrington Plymouth, Burton 0, Blackpool 1, Doncaster 1, Lincoln 0, Fleetwood 1, Oxford 0. These are all half times, by the way. Ipswich Crew is goalless. MK Dons 1, Wimbledon 1. That's the grudge match. That's 1-1 at half time. Peterborough 2, Shrewsbury 1, Portsmouth 0, Charlton 1, Rochdale Bristol Rovers 1-0 at Scotland, Swindon 1, Hull 1, and Wigan 0, Northampton 2. In League 2, a full time score: Exeter 1, Carlisle 0. The rest are 3 o'clocks. Barrow 1, Bradford 0 at half time. These are all half times. Cheltenham 1, Forest Green 0. Crawley and Cambridge 1-0. In fact, they're still playing there. Leyton Orient 3, Bolton 0. Jay Rodriguez is coming on for Burnley as we start the second half. Mansfield 1, Walsall 0. Newport and Harrogate 1-1. Oldham losing to Salford away at 1-0. Southend Port Vale 0, and the rest: Southend, Port Vale, Stevenage, Grimsby, and Tranmere and Morecambe all 0-0. That's half times around in the football leagues around England and Scotland. Jay Rodriguez has come on for the second half. Burnley trailing by a goal to 0. I don't know who he's replaced, incidentally, but we'll find out who he's come on for in a second or two, and we'll get that confirmed. I would have thought Ashley Barnes will be the man to be the make weight in that, as we get this second half underway. Burnley losing by a goal to 0, and it's Ashley Westwood to get us underway then at the turf. Jay Rodriguez, as I said, just come on. Well, I think it's Ashley Barnes he's replaced. Yes, Chris Wood's still there, so it looks to me as if it could well be Ashley Barnes he's made way for, but it's certainly in half-time substitution, or possibly Dale Stevens. They may have changed formation. We'll get that confirmed in just a second as the ball is hooked forward, and Wood was on the chase. It's as if Ashley Barnes has stayed on the field. But as I said, we'll get that substitution confirmed in a second or two here, hopefully. Yeah, but it looks as if Dale Stevens has come off. Yeah, it looks like Dale Stevens is off, and I think, yeah, Dale Stevens. Barnes must be playing out on that far side. Looks like it's going to be 4-3-3 then with a 3-man midfield. They're going to match up for Chelsea. They get a free kick straight away midway inside the Chelsea half. That's better from Burnley. They've got to put the pressure on Chelsea now and really make them think a little bit more strategically. And it's going to be Dwight McNeil to take the free kick, halfway almost inside the Chelsea half, just to the left of centre. Barnes, Wood all waiting the penalty area. 4 or 5 Burnley players. There was a line of them there. Header one back in there. They've got to be wary of the offside, of course, Burnley, but then another sloppy ball given away. This time I think it was Kevin Long who gave it away, but Burnley to their great credit win it back. And then Taylor hits a hopeful cross into the penalty area. Can't find Wood, but Burnley going at it a bit more better in the second half. The cross comes in from the far side from Lowton, and then it's hooked away by Reece James, but not very far either. And still Chelsea can't get the ball out their own half. Here's Westwood, and then that's a poor ball, and that's the problem for Burnley at the moment. That's a poor ball from Ashley Westwood, and he knows it. He categorically knows it. But that was a little bit more encouraging signs from the Clarets. But they need to win this game today. A draw would not be good enough to get them at the bottom 3. Under normal circumstances, you would say Burnley, a draw against Chelsea would be a good result under normal circumstances. But these at the moment are not normal circumstances. They are extreme circumstances for Burnley. They have to get 3 points, I feel, today to get themselves out the bottom three and get their season up and running. It will give them a bit of confidence going to a very, very big early season 6-pointer at the Amex next weekend. And that's a late kickoff as well. I think it's a Friday kickoff. They need a win there before going to Brighton in just over 6 days' time from now. That's a very big game, that is, and we'll be able to give you and that'll be and you'll be able to hear commentary of that one on the actual JB Claret YouTube channel. So 5:30 kickoff, and you'll hear that live with us on JB Sports YouTube channel. Not JB Claret, JB Sports. We're about 2 or 3 minutes into the second half here at Turf Moor. Burnley 0, Chelsea 1 is the score on the JB Sports Twitch channel, JB Sports 1, to give it its proper title. We wanted to use the JB Sports name, but Twitch wouldn't let us, so we've put the 1 next to it as well. But we are JB Sports, the usual live commentary that you come to expect normally on YouTube. We're bringing you one here on Twitch and getting some of the Saturday 3 o'clock games. If we do cover them, they'll be on Twitch, uploaded to YouTube a little bit later on. As Pope kicks away from his penalty area, a bit up and under it, she sliced that clearance and it went straight to N'Golo Kante for Chelsea. Now a chance here now, and Werner was tripped, I think. Yes, he was, says the referee, David Coote. And a yellow card. I don't think that was a yellow card offence against Kevin Long. I think the referee needs to get a grip. That's not a yellow card. He's tripped him. No more, no less. And I think David Coote, right in the first instance to give a free kick, wrong in the second instance to book Kevin Long. Not good refereeing, in my opinion. Should have given the free kick and carried on with the game. Free kick to Chelsea in a very promising position for them. Mason Mount and Reece James are the two main committees. About 30 yards out left of the centre. This could be a problem here for Burnley. Could well be the right foot of Mason Mount, this. And it looks as if it's going to be Mason Mount. I think there are 5 Clarets in the wall. Reece James isn't going to take it. It's going to be Mason Mount. Hits it right-footed over the wall, but it's straight into the midriff of Nick Pope, who held on well. Good free kick, but it wasn't penetrating Nick Pope. Saw it all the way. It was goalkeeper's side and kept a good eye on the ball there, did the England goalkeeper. Really good, safe pair of hands and a good assured pair of hands there by Nick Pope. Burnley have possession deep inside Chelsea territory now. Can they provide something here? Oh, that's behind Lowton. That's another dreadful ball. Burnley had a really good situation there. And if they use the possession better, I don't know what to think anymore. 5 minutes into the second half and Burnley are playing some really horrible passes at the moment in this match. Sean Dyche must be shaking his head in frustration at the moment. His team have not got going at all for me. Well, I'm a Clarets fan, and I've grown up watching them, and they're just not playing with any hunger or any fire in their bellies today. It just didn't seem that way. Turf Moor is not the fortress without the fans, and it's just, I think it's a disgrace, quite honestly. I think if we had the 12th man, Burnley had the 12th man there, this would not be an easy picking job for Chelsea, that's for sure. Here's Kai Havertz on the near side. He'll run at Charlie Taylor. That's a good ball on towards Ziyech, who took his goal, in fairness, very well. Havertz on the edge of the area. Ball played back. There's a man free there. And a good shot that from Mason Mount with his right foot. But Nick Pope again made a fantastically good save. Decent save from Mason Mount. The long range shot, but it was a comfortable save for Nick Pope. Right to the side foot. But Pope again kept his eye on the ball. Caught it well. Again, good a showed handling there from Nick Pope. Ball put forward, but Mendy gets the ball from the clearance. Chelsea just showing a threatening side to their game again. That's a worry. Burnley cannot afford to mess about now and defend every time. They have to go forward and get the ball at every conceivable opportunity. Jay Rodriguez has not gone into the game as the spar. We've been playing 6.5 to 7 minutes of the second half, and still Burnley are no closer to this equalising goal. Burnley 0, Chelsea 1 is the score in the only 3 o'clock Premier League game. Later, West Ham have got a task to go to Anfield and try and try and get 3 points against Liverpool. They nearly did it last season. They led a couple of times. But then Liverpool came back and stole it at the very last in the Premier League on their way to winning the first title for 30 years. That comes up at 5:30. Earlier today in the Premier League, Sheffield United were beaten 1-0 by Manchester City. Kyle Walker scoring the goal just shy of the half-hour mark at Bramall Lane. And Sheffield United, like Burnley at the moment, remain winless. And here's Kai Havertz now on the ball for Chelsea, whose front line looks very irresistible. Remember, they've got 6 substitutes to go for. I'll run through the substitutes for you. Burnley have used 1, of course, Jay Rodriguez. Dale Stephens has been nothing short of pathetic. I mean, if I was marking him out of the 10 for the game, I'd give him -2. He's just not been in it at all. I don't know whether it's hearts or minds. I mean, Sean Dyche must be frustrated. We set up a plan, and Burnley are far from executing any plan at the moment. They need to get a grip on themselves. They just haven't looked at their best at all. They need to try and get a break somewhere. Oh, I thought that was going to happen then. Burnley get the throw, so it might be a decent break, because what it does do is give an opportunity here on the edge of the Chelsea area from a throw here. Now they need to find something here. Can they get a equalising goal here from somewhere? Westwood back to Lawton into the penalty area. Barnes was there, no foul, and then the ball deflects, but deflects off a Burnley player last. And the goal kick, it is for Chelsea. Just to remind you of the 2 lineups, I'll just see that replay again now. Did it touch Thiago Silva last? Well, it was Thiago Silva who got the header away. Brave diving header that. So just to remind you of the 2 teams: Pope, Lawton, Long, Tarkowski, Taylor, Westwood, Brownhill, McNeil, Rodriguez, Barnes and Wood. On the bench, Peacock, Farrell, Brady, Vidra, Max Thompson, Jimmy Dunn and Lewis Richardson for Chelsea. They've got Mendy, James, Thiago Silva, Chilwell, Mount, Kante, Ziyech, the goal scorer, Havertz. Free kick to Burnley for a foul there on Tarkowski. Tammy Abraham and Thibaut Werner. On the bench, Caballero, Jorginho, Giroud, Hudson-Odoi, Aspilicueta, the club captain. Ziyech was the man penalised against for a foul there on Tarkowski. And Antonio Rudiger. Referee David Coote, who's had a poor game for me, from Nottingham, assisted by Gary Bezic and Nick Hopton, who both haven't had their greatest of games. John Moss is the 4th official, and Anthony Taylor is our VAR ref, who thus far has not been required. Burnley need something now. A goal now early doors in this second half. They need to score, I think, within the first 20 minutes of the second half, and then really give themselves a platform in which to build on and maybe snatch 3 points. They've had a bit more of the possession. First half they were outplayed. Now they're outplaying Chelsea 51-49. They only had 29% in the entire of the first half. They've had 51, Chelsea 49. So they're having much more of the ball. But they need to stop going sideways. They need to go forward. It's going sideways is not going to get them too far. They need to go forward. Westwood needs to go forward, but he's going backwards. And they're going to go backwards again to Nick Pope. This is not what we want to see. We want to see Burnley hit it forward. Pope hits the ball forward. It's telegraphed every single pass. Now, though, McNeil gets the ball forward. Looking to Barnes. Barnes turned away again by the Chelsea defender there, which was Reece James. Did really well there, the young right back. Still Burnley trail 1-0. They need a goal. They need an equaliser from somewhere. A crossfield pass to Taylor from the left-hand side from Lawton was a good one. And Taylor's got a chance here to get on his way past Ziyech and measure across towards the edge of the penalty area, but it's beyond everybody there. And Thibaut Werner can get it away for Chelsea, but then they give possession away. Burnley now looking a little bit more finishing. The shot comes in, and that's just wide from Ashley Barnes with his left foot. He must have been a roll at 25 yards. Had Mendes scrambling to his right-hand side, and it just missed the left-hand post. Not by much, I don't think. Turned away from Kante, created half a yard for himself. I think the goalkeeper might have had it covered anyway. But he had Mendy worried there for the first time this afternoon. Better from Burnley. Much better. Chelsea on the rocks a little bit. What do we want to see? Well, we didn't see enough of in the first half. Burnley just need the one break and they could be in for something special. They've got to keep plugging away. Get this equalising goal. They are capable enough to do so. As the ball is clicked clear now, 57.5 minutes gone. Here on the game, on the JB Sports Twitch channel, JB Sports 1. Burnley 0, Chelsea 1. Our first match on the Twitch channel of any 3 o'clock kickoffs. Whilst we're in COVID-19 lockdown, we'll bring you some 3 o'clock kickoffs if we get the chance. And we'll bring you to them on Twitch, and then you'll be able to hear them later on YouTube this evening after every broadcast. But we'll still show decent primetime matches on JB Sports live for you as well. And our next live offering on JB Sports, incidentally, will be on Friday, whereas Burnley travel to Brighton for a 5:30 Friday tea time kickoff. Covered a match there 2 years ago involving those two teams, and Burnley won really well 3-1. I seem to remember Wood and Barnes tearing the Seagulls apart that Saturday evening. Anyway, on Saturday afternoon, in the real world, as Westwood whips that ball back in again. The ball might break to Barnes inside the penalty area. Barnes hooks the ball back across. Still a chance here. Tarkowski shoots. And he scuffs the shot wide of the target towards the left, past the left-hand post. And behind for a corner, for a goal kick, to Chelsea. Burnley looking a little bit more menacing in that final third, which we didn't see enough of, I feel, in the first half. Barnes did well, hooked the ball back, and then Tarkowski with a typical left-footed centre-half type of a shot, which went drifting wide. But Burnley winning possession and winning it fairly. Referees letting one or two things go. Good to see from the referee. Not being lenient on Chelsea like he was in the first half. Burnley now starting to get a little bit of a foothold, but they need an equaliser, I feel. I think Dale Stevens has just, removing him, has got the shackles away for Burnley a little bit, because Stevens made some elementary mistakes. And Lawton, he nutmegged for Timo Werner superbly, but then ran into trouble there as Chilwell got it away. But, well, Frank Lampard's side had it easy in the first half. They're certainly not now. Burnley having the lion's share of the second half, 60% now to 40%. You compare that to 29% to 71% in the first half in Chelsea's favour. It's turned the game on its head. Barnes wins possession, but then loses it to Kante. But then Burnley win it back, and then that's a pathetic decision. That is a pathetic decision from David Coote. There was no foul clearly on N'Golo Kante, and he blows up for something as soft as that. David Coote, that's ridiculous. Hardly touches him there, Barnes. And the referee, not 2 yards away, gives a free kick. I cannot believe that decision from Mr. Coote, who's been the worst official so far in the Premier League this season. Certainly in terms of VAR, and I don't think he's winning many friends or many admirers here this afternoon with his fussy sort of refereeing. Let's put it that way. Half an hour to go on the game on Twitch. Burnley 0, Chelsea 1. Here's the goalkeeper, Mendy now from a long ball, picked the ball up and carried on with the game. Still 1-0. And at the moment it's still anyone's game. Burnley are having much of the play now, and Werner gets the ball over to the far side. Now a real opportunity here. Beckham's potentially here for Chelsea now. A second goal might put the game beyond Burnley's reach. They can't afford to lose another goal, but they have to go forward. They can't afford to lose again today. They just haven't been good enough, but I've seen pockets of play in the second half, which encourages me a little bit. But Chelsea have possession. Ziyech's goal in 26 minutes looks like being the difference. The ball in towards Werner. Well held there by Tarkowski. And it's out for a throw-in, but it's Chelsea pinning Burnley back now as we go into the final half hour. We'll check the current scorelines in just a second or two from around the country in the Football League and, of course, up in Scotland in the Scottish Premier Division. Still 1-0 to Chelsea, if you just joined us here. Ziyech's goal on 26 minutes dividing the two teams, and then Burnley running into a lot of trouble here, and here goes Ziyech again. Charlie Taylor did exceptionally well, got a foot in as Ziyech was about to pull the trigger there to possibly make it 2 and put the game beyond Burnley's reach. But Charlie Taylor, who's probably been the best Burnley player by none in this match, stuck out a leg and got the ball to safety for a corner, but the danger not over yet. He's looked good today, Ziyech, I have to be honest. He's a very good player and a very good signing indeed. Scored his first Champions League goal in midweek, and now we could be in for something. But now danger here for Burnley as the corner comes in from Mount towards the penalty area. Oh, it's gone in. Kurt Zouma from 6 yards. Another pathetic display of defending again from Burnley. And Chelsea go 2 goals clear. And Frank Lampard's team are out of jail. I don't believe it. That was slack Burnley marking. And Kurt Zouma has paid, and we've paid the price. Kurt Zuma's made Burnley pay there. Burnley again undone from a corner, just like they did against Tottenham last week. Where was the man marking him there? That's Tarkowski's man, and that was ridiculous defending. Everybody was ball watching. Wood should have got a header away on that. That is not good enough. Burnley 0, Chelsea 2, and the defending was, in a word, pathetic. 2-0 to Chelsea. Not good enough. Not good enough by half. And no wonder Nick Pope looks thunderstruck. Another catastrophic day on the trenches for Burnley. Against the run of the play, one has to say, but you cannot legislate for silly defensive mistakes like that. Defensively stupid on the first goal, and we've committed... Excuse me, we've committed defensive suicide on the second goal. It's just not been anywhere good enough, and the points, I'm sure to say, have now gone. It's not good enough. And the onus now will be on Brighton today. Apart from that 15 minutes in the second half, we just haven't been at the races at all. I've never seen Burnley marking as slack as that in my lifetime. I thought the marking on Monday was slack enough, but the marking on the second Chelsea goal, I mean, Kurt Zouma must have thought that his Christmases and birthdays had all come at once. And he had the freedom of the Burnley penalty area to nod in goal number 2, virtually on track. Where was Tarkowski? Where was Lowton? Nowhere to be seen. Everybody was ball watching. Chris Wood should have got a better contact. And as a result of that defensive sloppiness from Burnley, we have paid the ultimate price. Burnley 0, Chelsea 2 now, with 25 minutes to go. And Burnley now surely can't win this game. I hate to say it, and I say this with gritted teeth, but I said at the start, I said at the start of the afternoon on YouTube, as I was promoting the game here this afternoon, the more that elusive victory goes on, the more frustrating it gets. And we will be reading out some messages on Facebook from social media on Burnley fans. But this is what happens when Mike Garlick does things on the cheap. The talk of the takeovers have really rocked the club. And it's a sad state of affairs at the moment. Chelsea now, they score a third. I think it's game over now. But it's a sad state of affairs at the moment at the turf. And it looks as if it's going to be 1 point from 6 now. And there are some questions that need to be asked of the team. Are their attitudes right? Is the attitude from top to bottom at this club right? I think it's a little bit too early in the season possibly to be calling for Sean Dyche's head. I think with what he's achieved, I think he's been bought that time, but he has not been helped by the boardroom upheaval, and it must be frustrating for Sean because it is difficult. Chelsea tried to come forward again. A third goal will surely kill any chances of Burnley even snatching a point, let alone 3. As the ball comes into the penalty area from Ziyech, he's had a marvellous game. Brownhill intercepts for Burnley. Now McNeil needs to get his finger out as well. Hooks a long ball forward now. Chance here for Wood to chase. Mendy's come almost like sweeper keeper. Hooks the ball away. And now Chelsea are on their way again. This looks ominous. Oh, what a good tackle that is. What a super tackle that is to deny Thibaut Werner from going forward by Kevin Long. Now, if they'd have defended that second goal properly, I'd have given people like Kevin Long a bit more credit. But the sooner Ben Mee comes back at the heart of that back four. I don't know what's taking so long for Ben Mee's fitness to return, but he's played a couple of reserve games. Surely we have to get him back for next week. We have to risk him for next week. And here's a chance for Reece James crossing the area. Abraham can't get on the end of it. Chilwell will keep it in on the far side now. It's damage limitations now for Burnley. Here's Werner back to once again Chilwell. Now Mason Mount, who's threatened a couple of times from free kicks in this second half. Soma and Ziyech in the first half with the Chelsea goals. 2-0 halfway through the second half. Ziyech again plays a 1-2 with Mason Mount. Then the ball's chipped out towards Reece James. Chelsea do look a good side, and you can see why their investments are proving fruitful compared to Burnley's. We've made 2 investments, a good choice goalkeeper which we didn't need in Will Norris, and Dale Stephens, whose first half display was frankly the most pathetic I've ever seen for such a long time from a Burnley player. And if I was going to give a Burnley in a match, I'd give it to Dale Stephens every day of the week because he's not good enough. But you look at the talent that Chelsea have and you think, if Burnley had that sort of money, could we? We certainly couldn't attract people like Timo Werner, but certainly they could attract better quality of players than which they've got at the moment. I know the nucleus of the squad is beginning to take shape. Here's Jay Rodriguez. If anyone can try and force a way back for Burnley, it's him. But his shot was deflected. It's out for a throw. Still 2-0 to Chelsea. If you join us late, Ziyech with a goal. Chelsea with 2 goals either side of half time. Zuma would have had the latest one after 63 minutes. And we will keep you abreast of all the other scores. As soon as we get a bit of a break in play, we will bring you up to date with the scorelines up and down the UK this afternoon. In England, Wales, Scotland, and in England and Scotland anyway. As the ball is now won there by Lawton now for Burnley. We'll give you a little bit of a classified check before the end of the programme. I'm not sure we'll be able to hear from any of the 2 competing managers, but we'll certainly give you a full classified check at the end and a little bit of team news for the evening game. Here's Werner now. He could make it 3. He has. Into the right-hand corner. That's game, set and match now. Without a shadow of a doubt as the German makes it 3-0. And it's a sorry sight for Burnley Football Club, whose performance today, one has to say, has been nothing short of pathetic. It's been a toothless, spineless, turgid performance. Ball given away stupidly by Matt Lawton. Burnley, ball watching again. The flag stayed down. Taylor playing them all onside. And it's just knife through butter stuff for Chelsea. Ziyech with the assist. And a comfortable finish that for Timo Werner. And this is what £300 million spent in the summer gets you here for a football team like Chelsea. Lampard has spent the money well. James to Ziyech. Good ball to the left-hand side of the area and a good goal that. But Burnley are looking so out of sorts. Their attitude stinks. Their performance has stunk to high heaven apart from the first 15 minutes of the second half. And now they have paid, quite rightly, the ultimate price. Burnley 0 now, Chelsea 3. The points on their way, like on Monday, back to London, back to the capital. Not a good enough performance, and I'll be reading out some text messages. It's a scoreline that Chelsea have richly deserved. Let's make no mistake about it. They've richly deserved to be 3-0 up. Forget about the refereeing and forget about certain niggly decisions that could have gone against us and things like that. But Chelsea have played us off the park. Rank defending on all 3 goals. And there's got to be some investigation. There's got to be an inquest into why Burnley are playing so ill at the moment. They look a critically ill outfit, if I'm being honest. They're missing key players. As I said, they're missing Court. They're missing Gudmundsson. They're missing Ben Mee, the skipper and the inspiration. They're missing Bill Barsley due to COVID-19. Eric Peters. There's 5 or 6 different players out at the moment with different niggles. But at the moment, it's easy street for Chelsea now as they try to go for number 4 now. It's all a case now of what can Burnley offer now. The game's gone, and it's going to be 1 point in 6. And there will be a little rant afterwards from me because there's around about 9 o'clock tonight I'll be hitting the airwaves on YouTube when you've had enough time to get there. Bobby Brady comes on for Ashley Barnes, but quite frankly, it's far too little, too late now for Burnley because it's just not been good enough. Why wasn't Brady brought on at half-time as well? I thought Barnes has had a pathetic match as well. Just not good enough. They just don't look interested. They don't seem bothered. Ziyech will come off, but he needs to get a wiggle on because he's time wasting quite practically. But he's played well today. Callum Hudson-Odoi comes on for him, and he gets a deserved tap on the shoulder there from Frank Lampard. But Burnley, it has to be said, are the architects of their own sorry downfall. 3 more goals shipped. A goal difference that just looks horrible every time you think about it. And, well, I know exactly who's to blame, and that's the chairman at the club for all the uncertainty of the club's future. I've said my piece about Mike Garlick. I think he's now, with his cheap and nasty buying, I think that's he has sold Sean Dyche down the river this summer, and there's no doubt about that. But I fear for Burnley Football Club at the moment. I'm a proud supporter. I have been for 20 years, and I'm commentating on them today. And then look at a really poor side, and it's showing the difference between the two teams is an almighty chasm. As the ball's played into Reece James, now the ball's chipped over to the far side, and there's a man overload here, chipped back by Chilwell. Well, Chilwell should have had the shot there. Reece James tries an audacious one that sails into the cricket field stand behind Pope's goal for a goal kick to Burnley. And quite frankly, it's looking like another miserable day in East Lancashire here as the ball sails over the top for a goal kick. Right, let's have a little bit of escapism for a moment, and let's just check the sides. I've just had a comment from Russ Vernon, which I'm not going to read out. But just to remind you, elsewhere, earlier today, Sheffield United 0, Man City 1. In the Scottish Premier League, Dundee 2, Ross County 0, Livingston 2-0, Motherwell 2. They're having a good season, actually, Motherwell, when they're not playing. Bristol City 1, Norwich 3. That was on full time elsewhere. These games still going on. Barnsley 1, Watford 0. Bournemouth 0, Derby 1. Luton 0, Brentford 2. Middlesbrough Forest goalless. Millwall 0, Huddersfield 1. Preston and Birmingham were still 1-1. QPR 2, Cardiff City 1. Stoke 1, Rotherham 0. Swansea, a little bit of cheer. Yay, 2. Blackburn Rovers 0. Fantastic result there. Well done, Swansea. From a claret to South Wales, well done, Swansea. Wycombe 1, Sheffield Wednesday 0. Early today, Gillingham 0, Sunderland 2. These are the other games that I played. Accrington were called off because of COVID-19 bouts. Burton 1, Blackpool 1 is currently, they were winning. I think they were winning 2-1, but they've had a goal disallowed, I believe, at Burton. Doncaster 1, Lincoln 0 in a local derby there. Fleetwood 1, Oxford 0. Ipswich 1, Crewe 0. MK Dons and Wimbledon still 1-1. Peterborough 2-1, Shrewsbury against Shrewsbury. Portsmouth 0, Charlton 1. Rochdale Bristol Rovers 1-1. Swindon 2, Hull 1. And Wigan 1, Northampton 3. Bad day for Wigan. Exeter 1, Carlisle. That was a full time. The rest are still going on. Barrow 1, Bradford 0. Free kick to Chelsea whilst that's going on. You're not missing much at the moment. Still 3-0 to Chelsea. Cheltenham 2, Forest Green 1. Crawley 2, Cambridge 1. Leyton Orient 4, a very sorry Bolton 0. Mansfield 1, Walsall 1. Newport 1, Harrogate 1. Salford 2 now, Oldham 0. Southend 0, Port Vale 2. Stevenage 0, Grimsby 1. And Morecambe could have a surprise victory as we see Olivier Giroud coming on for Tammy Abraham. But a surprise victory there possibly for Morecambe away at Tranmere. They're beating Morecambe, winning there 1-0. Well done, Morecambe, if they hang on there. Bromley 2, Eastleigh 0. Bromley 0, Eastleigh 2 in the National League. Dover 0, Altrincham 1. Kings Lynn 1, Woking 2. Maidenhead Solihull 1-1. Stockport Weymouth 1-1. And Yeovil 0, Chesterfield 1. Hartlepool Torquay is the late kick-off. And the games at Wrexham, Halifax and Bournemouth have all been called off. So you're up to date with all the latest scores, and we'll give you all the full times at the end of this game here now as we concentrate the last quarter of an hour on our commentary game. Nothing happened while we were reading all the scores out, by the way. Burnley 0, Chelsea 3. Just that substitution which I explained anyway. Jerome now on for Tammy Abraham as Mendy, who's not had much to do in the goal really. Had to sprawl across to cover, got a chance there for Barnes, but apart from that, a long range shot for Barnes. Apart from that, really hasn't really been called upon really to make a telling contribution in this game. Hasn't been needed to really because Burnley have been so powder puff. It's unbelievable. It's been men against boys here today, and the men have been Chelsea, and Burnley have been clearly boys. They've been the whipping boys, to be honest with you, and that's due to the lack of investment. This is the sort of thing you get when you do things on the cheap, and I blame 100% Mike Garlick for what's gone on at the Covers. Chelsea comes striding forward again, looking to add more insult to Burnley's injury as the cross comes in from James. It's nodded away. Now then, can Burnley just try and find something on the break? It's been a story of the ball being given away in key areas, and then 3 kicks been given away, and you can understand a little bit of frustration there as the ball's kicked away. I think there's been a few soft free kicks that the referee could have let go. But as far as I'm concerned, as dire as the referee has been, Burnley have been dire themselves. The message from Russ Vernon was one of our contributors over on JB Sports YouTube channel. Was just look at the attempts. 4 on target all day for Burnley, 12 to Chelsea. They've had 8 on target, Chelsea, and Burnley have not even registered 1 shot at goal. It has been pathetic from start to finish, and I will not be watching Match of the Day to hear Alan Shearer's verdict. As Burnley lose possession yet again, Kai Havertz has it on the near side. I'm not trying to make excuses for Burnley, but the fixture computer could not have been much unfair on Burnley. Look at the fixtures they've had. But having said that, they could have taken 6 points from 2 of those games. And here they are now, pointless. Again here, that's a 4 tucked inside the 6-yard area. I don't think the goal's going to stand though. Offside given. I think it was Olivier Giroud who took the ball into the back of the net. David Coote, the referee, disallowing it. It was an offside flag from Nick Hopton that's denied him here. And it's a good decision. Good decision. No goal. It's a good cross that from Chilwell. Giroud stuck it in well, but Mr. Hopton's flag was the right decision. Well done, Nick Hopton. Very good officiating there. Not really much to say other than it was the right decision from both officials, who have hardly got really any decisions right as far as I'm concerned. As Pope kicks away now for Burnley, who are 3-0 down. They need 3 goals and plenty of snookers in the last 10 minutes to even salvage a point, let alone 3. Here's Brownell, has it, finds McNeil. Again, he's had a poor match. Taylor, who's tried his socks off, but hasn't been given much support. He's done so well in trying to get Burnley on their way, but really the right hand side looks so unbalanced, it's unbelievable. And then Brady can't get it out from under his feet, and it goes behind. And the same intensity has not been there at all. And questions do have to be asked of the chairmanship, the attitude of the players. And certain questions should be aimed at Sean Dyche. I'm not saying he's entirely to blame for all this, but I don't know what he's telling the players at half-time, but I think Sean Dyche at full-time needs to give a right old rocket, because these defeats can't keep happening, or Burnley could be relegated by Christmas, and that's what I fear. Burnley now from a short corner. They get a free kick, did they? Yeah, they do. David Coote took about 500 years to get that decision, but give the decision he did. It was a foul on Dwight McNeil, who's not fulfilling his potential to me this season. He's had 2 good years since breaking into the team about a year and a half ago, but can Burnley give themselves a bit of respectability. Westwood and McNeil, the 2-man committee. I think it might be Westwood with the right foot that will hoist this into the penalty box. Indeed it will. And it goes towards the far post, but it's a poor free kick. And behind for a Chelsea goal kick, and they'll be delighted about that, the Stamford Bridge men. They just that's so overhit, it's unbelievable. It tells the whole story of what Burnley have been all afternoon long. It really has. It's been one of the most disappointing displays I think I've witnessed all season. Burnley just haven't looked up for it at all, and it's, you know, when we're trailing teams like Brighton and West Bromwich Albion and people like that, it's really sad moments indeed. Burnley just haven't got into this at all today, and in fairness to Chelsea, you've got to give them their fair dues. Here's Reece James down the right hand side. Can Chelsea add a fourth at the end? Well, they've been the better team, and it's been since the second goal, really. I mean, Burnley have only themselves to blame. Let's not try. I mean, the referee's been poor, but so have Burnley. I mean, let's face it. I mean, the defending on all three goals were rank. It has been rank all the way through, and you have to say that's totally and utterly inexcusable. I will take about 3 hours to calm down, and then I'll put my considered verdict on YouTube a little bit later on, around about 10 o'clock tonight, when I've had time to simmer down from this and give my marks and that. Here's a chance now for Werner on the far side. The ball hooked across, and good goalkeeping there by Nick Pope. As Giroud was charging inside that 6-yard area. Held on to it well there, Nick Pope, who's had a pretty decent game. Doesn't deserve to have 3 put past him, but that was a good bit of goalkeeping, that. Kante with the move. Werner's shot across the face. And, good bit of goalkeeping, that. Still 3-0 to Chelsea as we are now just 6 minutes plus stoppage time away from more misery being put out of Burnley, really. It's so sad, and I'll be reading a few comments after the classifiers before we go here this afternoon rather, as Brownhill wins possession. Here's Westwood now. The sooner those 5 Burnley players come back, the better. Just Sean Dyche as well has to be less stubborn and get these players as fit as possible. Not a question of Dyche, but just get a match fit, and that'll be fine. When we had a little run after lockdown, but without the turf, without the 12th man, it's been so easy for Burnley. It's been easy pickings for them, really, for Chelsea. And no one can argue with that scoreline. 3-0. I don't know. It's a sad state of affairs as Zuma keeps possession. He got the second one, of course. Ghosted in with a 3-header. But the infuriating thing about it is that all 3 goals from Chelsea, as good as they are from the attacking point of view, it's been far too easy for them. 5 to play. Chelsea winning 3-0. Goals from Werner, Ziyech in the first half, and of course Zuma in between, sandwiched in between, are the heroes for Chelsea this afternoon. Reece James chipping the ball in from the far near side, but it's nodded away. Burnley looking to get a free kick. They need 3 goals in 5 minutes. And I don't think it's going to happen. Let's be totally frank with you. Chelsea have the game sewn up. And if I'm being totally honest, just had the 1 minute on at the end, John Moss, so I don't really want to see any more of this. I think Burnley should be put out of the misery, to be quite honest. Kai Havertz, no goal for him this afternoon, but he's coming off, and Jorginho will come on, the Brazilian, to play out the last few seconds now, playing out the motions, really. Burnley 0, Chelsea 3, live on the JB Sports 1 Twitch channel. Not been a good afternoon for the Clarets. It was going to be a tough ask today, I know, but there's ways of... I mean, if we'd have lost bravely, then there would have been grounds for optimism, but the attitude and the performance has stunk to high heaven today. And quite honestly, when you're an outsider looking in, it's an unacceptable performance, really, from Burnley, as Kante charges forward, finds Giroud. Right now, a chance here for Callum Hudson-Odoi to come forward, the substitute. Kante now has it edge in the area. Kante will shoot, deflects wide of the far post, or the right-hand post, and it's going to be a corner, I think, to Chelsea. I think it's a corner. Yes, it is. 3 minutes plus stoppage time left now, and it's Burnley are going through the motions here. But it has to be said, I've never seen Normally, when you're an underdog, you get yourselves up for this, and Burnley have not been up for it. Apart from a 10-minute spell early in the second half, they've not been good enough. That could have been a fourth. Header come forward. Thiago went flying in there from the edge of the area, got a header in, virtually unchallenged as well. Round about the penalty spot area, virtually unchallenged, and it was straight into Nick Pope's arms. But again, this is not good marking from Burnley. They have been so slack. They have been so pathetic. They've been so lethargic. It's unbelievable. Now Brownhill. Another poor ball. How many more misplaced passes have we seen in this second half? In fact, Burnley have won a free kick, funnily enough, but none of it's going to make a donkey's bit of difference right now, because Burnley 0, Chelsea 3 is the scoreline. And quite frankly, I feel like flipping my lid watching this Burnley team at the moment. I have been nothing but disappointed about it. As we go towards the end of the game now, we will bring you the full classifieds as soon as we're finished here at the turf. It's not been great now, and I mean, even more so now. I think there's going to be, as we talk of another possible national lockdown away from football, which is not going to help anyone's mental health. That is for sure. But enough about the politics. Let's concentrate more on the football here at the moment. We'll have a full classified check for you in about 5 minutes' time or something like that once the whistle's gone here at Turf Moor. But it's been a horrible afternoon for everyone who's associated with Burnley Football Club, and it's been a disgraceful afternoon. It's not been at all. It's not been a great performance. I don't think the shirts that they've worn today are going to fetch much for charity, because they have not performed in them today. Not anyone in Cloud and Blue can say, maybe for the exception of Charlie Taylor, who, in fairness to him, has tried his heart out. Not any other player can say that they've actually put a shift in today. Burnley win a free kick, but free kicks aren't going to get goals here. We've got, if the game was won on free kicks, I think we'd have got 3 points. But we needed goals. Chelsea have got 3. We've had none, and we haven't had a shot on target today, which, from a Burnley point of view, has been unbelievably poor. But Chelsea have been good. Let's face it now, as we hit the 90-minute mark, I'm going to give the Man of the Match award. I'm going to give it to Ziyech as John Moss. I think that's fair enough. I think 2 minutes is about right. That's the only good thing I've said about John Moss all season. But I think 2 minutes is enough. And Burnley now know that the game was lost a long time ago now. 3 defensive mishaps, mistakes that could have been avoided, have really cost Burnley dear. But the old attitude towards the game, the execution of the tactics has just not been there from the Burnley players. The attitude has stunk, and all-round play has been pathetic. And it's been easy streak for Chelsea this second half. It really has. It has been promoted of the afternoon, to be honest with you. Frank Lampard was on to a winner. He's certainly on to one now. He's about 1 minute and 10 away now from celebrating another fantastic 3 points for his boys. And one can't dispute that. Here's Robbie Brady now, who once scored a great free kick against Chelsea. Then the shot comes in. Right-footed. It came from, trying to think who it might have been, Westwood, I think. But it went sailing over the crossbar. Matt Lawton, rather. And it's over the bar anyway. And Mendy again wasn't troubled as Lawton's shot sailed over the crossbar into the Jimmy McElroy stand. And he'll be looking down. Daggered face, I'm sure, from the Evans. It's not been a great performance. 30 seconds or 2 to go. Thiago Silva, I think he's just faking it a little bit now with the cramp. You're 30 seconds from the end of the game. Just get on with it and get to the end. There's no point in trying to prolong something that's already been won and lost. It was the first goal from Ziyech. Poor defending from Burnley. Didn't back up him up. Suma's goal was pathetic as well. No marking there. And then the third, Werner left unmarked. Burnley had gone, although Burnley had been stretched again, and they just didn't pick up the run of Werner. It's been ranked defending all afternoon. It's been a ranked display, as Mr. Coote, the referee from Nottingham, draws to the end. Sean Dyche looks very, very angry indeed. Good result for Chelsea. Let's take nothing away from them. Goals from Ziyech, Zuma and Werner. More than enough to seal 3 points. It could have been far more, to be fair. But a good day's work for Frank Lampard, but a horrible day for Burnley Football Club, whose display and attitude and execution was, in a nutshell, without saying too much else, was pathetic. Sean Dyche walks off a very disgruntled man, disgruntled with life at the moment. Not so Ziyech and, well, poor Sean Dyche. One feels for him. What can he do when the chairman is digging his heels in at the moment? Sooner the sale goes through to the American owners, we hope, the better, because at the moment Burnley look beaten to a pulp in terms of confidence, their attitude, and the way they've executed the game this afternoon. It has been, quite frankly, pathetic. We're going to take a quick 5-minute break here at the Turf, and we'll be back in 5 minutes for the classified football results at 5 o'clock. But with the scoreline here at Turf Moor isn't a good one, I'm afraid, for Burnley fans, as it's finished here at the Turf. Burnley 0, Chelsea 3. We'll be back in about a couple of minutes. Welcome back to Turf Moor, where the sun is setting here above me in the clouds, but could it be setting on Burnley's Premier League status come this time next year. Who knows? But a really bad defeat. We're hoping to get some reaction, but we're going to stay with you until about 5:25 and try and get some reactions, certainly from both Burnley and Chelsea people as well. Hopefully Sean Dyche and Frank Lampard before the afternoon's out. We've got a full classified coming up for you in just about 4 minutes from time. Let's have a look at some of the games that are going in full time there. Swansea 2, Blackburn 0. That's a great result. Bournemouth have got a point against Derby. Birmingham have just snatched victory at Preston. MK Dons and Wimbledon, that grudge match finished 1-1. Wycombe still winning. In fact, they've won. Wheeler's goal after 45 minutes has won it. Earlier today in the Premier League, Sheffield United 0, Man City 1. And as you've just heard, Burnley 0, Chelsea 3 here on Twitch. Morton 3, Ayr United 2. Cardiff are being beaten 3-2 by QPR. Craig Gardner getting the winning goal. McGree scoring in his first Birmingham start. Some games still going on at the moment. Peterborough 5, Shrewsbury 1. Ipswich 1, Crewe 0. They're still going on. Cheltenham and Forest Green still playing. Cheltenham winning there by 2-1. But a good result that could be for Ita Karanka's Birmingham. Dundee United have held on. Cabango and Aye were the Swansea heroes. Aye's through going 5 games as you know who were put to the sword. Swansea 2, Rovers 0. In Scottish League 1, in the first round of the Scottish Cup of this season's Scottish Cup, Cove Rangers 1, Partick 0. They're still playing the last season's Scottish Cup today because it's a semi-final day in a couple of minutes up at Hampden, because I don't think it's at Hampden actually, but it's in the Edinburgh Derby for a place in the Scottish Cup, which should have took place last season. Bournemouth and Derby have got a 1-1 draw. Shinnie with a goal for Derby on 14. Riquelme responding with his first goal for Bournemouth after 81, and Shinnie as well scoring his first goal of the season. Ipswich have won against Crewe. Edinburgh won against Elgin City. Crawley have got through there. Stoke have beaten Rotherham by 1-0. I'm giving you up to date with what happened at Charlton. Portsmouth 0, Charlton 2. Good win for Lee Bowyer's man. Williams with the first goal after 26 minutes. And Aneki with the clincher on 82. And Morecambe have just won a very good 3 points there at Tranmere. James McLean with his second goal in 3 games sinks Rotherham United at the Bet365 Stadium, or the Britannia Stadium for a lot of the old timers looking in, by 1-0. And we're all set almost now for the full classified results from all around the United Kingdom. And I've just noticed that Alan Shearer is going to be a guest on Match of the Day, so I'm going to avoid that like the plague anyway. Let's get to the full classified check from all around the UK. Here we go then. We start as usual with our look at the Premier League to start with. 2 results from that. Burnley 0, Chelsea 3. Liverpool against West Ham is an evening kick-off. Sheffield United 0, Manchester City 1. Into the Championship. Barnsley 1, Watford 0. Bournemouth 1, Derby 1. Bristol City 1, Norwich City 3. Luton Town 0, Brentford 3. Middlesbrough 1, Nottingham Forest 0. Millwall 0, Huddersfield 3. Preston 1, Birmingham 2. QPR against Cardiff is a late result, but with QPR still winning 3-2. Stoke City 1, Rotherham 0. Swansea 2, Blackburn Rovers 0. And Wycombe 1, Sheffield Wednesday 0. League 1. Accrington Stanley against Plymouth Argyle, match postponed. Burton 1, Blackpool 2. Doncaster 1, Lincoln 0. Fleetwood 2, Oxford 0. Gillingham 0, Sunderland 2. Ipswich 1, Crewe Alexandra 0. MK Dons 1, AFC Wimbledon 1. Peterborough 5, Shrewsbury 1. Portsmouth 0, Charlton 2. Rochdale 1, Bristol Rovers 1. Swindon Town 2, Hull City 1. And Wigan Athletic 2, Northampton 3. Into League 2, Barrow 1, Bradford City 0. Cheltenham 2, Forest Green 1. Crawley 2, Cambridge 1. Exeter 1, Carlisle 0. Leyton Orient 4, Bolton 0. Mansfield Town 1, Walsall 1. Newport 2, Harrogate Town 1. Salford 2, Oldham Athletic 0. Southend United 0, Port Vale 2. Stevenage 0, Grimsby Town 0. And Tranmere 0, Morecambe 1. Into the Vanarama National League, Bournemouth Wood against Dagenham and Redbridge, match postponed. Bromley 1, Eastleigh 2. Dover 0, Altrincham 1. The matches between Halifax Town and Wealdstone and Hartlepool and Torquay. The match between Halifax and Wealdstone is postponed. Hartlepool is an evening kick-off. Kingsland 3, Woking 2. Maidenhead 3, Solihull Moors 1. Stockport 1, Weymouth 2. Wrexham against Sutton United is match postponed. And Yeovil 0, Chesterfield 1. Two games in the Scottish Premier League. Dundee United 2, Ross County 1. And Livingston 0, Motherwell 2. Into the Scottish Championship. Dundee 1, Rave Rovers 1. Dunfermline 3, Queen of the South 2. Inverness Caledonia Thistle 3, Arbroath 1. And Morton 3, Ayr 2. League 1 in Scotland. Airdrie 0, Dumbarton 2. Clyde 0, Peterhead 2. Cove Rangers 1, Partick Thistle 0. Falkirk 2, East Fife 0. And Forfar 2, Montrose 3. Into the League 2 in Scotland. Albion Rovers 0, Brechin 2. Cowdenbeath 1, Stenhousemuir 1. Edinburgh City 1, Elgin City 0. Stirling 1, Annan Athletic 0. And Stranraer 0, Queen's Park 1. Into Wales, Haverfordwest against Ballatown. That's an evening kick-off in the Welsh Premier Division. And the Danske Bank Premiership final, Cliftonville 3, Carrick Rangers 0. Coleraine 2, Glentoran 1. Glenarvan 0, Dungannon Swifts 0. Larne 2, Ballymena 0. And Warren Point Town 1, Portadown 1. And the late result, QPR 3, Cardiff City 2. That is now confirmed as a result. Right, let's take a check on the tables. Chelsea go fourth with that win in our match at Burnley this afternoon. That means Villa dropped to fifth. Everton still top on goal difference from Liverpool. Wolves were up to third after their win against Crystal Palace. Then come Leicester, Tottenham, Manchester City, Leeds and Southampton. Leeds and Southampton have 10 points each. At the bottom, Burnley are bottom with a -9 goal difference. Fulham and Sheffield United come next, and then West Bromwich Albion, but Burnley at the moment not looking good. Manchester United as low as 15th. In the Championship, Reading 4 points ahead of Swansea in second place, who won against Blackburn. Bournemouth, Norwich, Middlesbrough and Watford make up the playoff spots, with Millwall, Stoke, Brentford and Bristol City and Birmingham Huddersfield in with a shout. At the wrong end of the table, Sheffield Wednesday still looking to get off their negative. They were deducted 12 points, but they're on -4. Peterborough and Ipswich, the two East Anglian clubs, are the top of the table at the moment. They're in the top two divisions, top two places with Lincoln, Hull, Charlton and Sunderland in the playoffs. Portsmouth and Doncaster and Fleetwood just outside it. At the bottom, we've got Wigan, Shrewsbury, Burton and Oxford all in the relegation mire, with MK Dons and Northampton and Gillingham and Blackpool just looking over their shoulders a little bit. In League 2, Newport are 5 points clear of Cambridge in second, a further point clear of Cheltenham Town. And then come Exeter, Port Vale, Forest Green and Crawley in the playoffs. At the bottom, Scunthorpe 2 points adrift, and Southend a further 2 more points adrift. Mansfield just outside, Oldham looking over their shoulders. In the Vanarama National League, Torquay are top by 2 points from Stockport County. Sutton, Maidenhead, Hartlepool and Eastleigh and Solihull are in the playoffs. At the moment, it's not looking good for Aldershot Town. Sorry, Trevor. Yeovil or Dagenham and Redbridge, but they're only 2 points off getting out of it. In Scotland, Rangers top at the moment, quite a long way at the moment, a big gap of 6 points. although Celtic have a game in hand. Burnley in a third. At the bottom, Hamilton Academicals, who didn't play today, are bottom with 7 points, and then St Mirren come after that. Right, let's try and get some reaction, and let's hear from... No, this is what happened earlier today, in fact. We will try and get some reaction from here at Turf Moor as and when we can. But this is what happened at Bramall Lane today. Manchester City winning it for a Kyle Walker goal in the first half. 28 minutes the goal was timed. And Sheffield United will be quite pleased. But Burnley with a -9 goal difference at the moment, looking over their shoulders now, bottom of the league. It's not looking good. Well, we're waiting for a reaction. Let's get the... Russ actually comes up with a big stack for me here. He sent me a message here by email. It's the first time since March and April 2010, this is going back to Brian Lawes' day, that the Clarets have lost 4 successive home Premier League games. It's not looking good at the moment, is it? That is for sure. Pep Guardiola has just been interviewed there, but we won't get an interview from him. Well, let's see what's been happening here. Let's have a look at what's been happening. My brother says, Carl says, embarrassing effort, not the result that annoys me. Not the result that annoys me, but lack of any effort. Tom D says, we're very poor and the return of Burnley will not rescue the situation. However, resident referee Peter Walton says the Barnes incident should be seen both ways. At Old Trafford, it's a penalty. At Burnley, it's a penalty at Burnley against the top 16. It's not. What Klopp gets his way with having 5 substitutes will be impossible for us to stay up. Richard Thompson says series of shambolic transfer windows, not to mention a long injury list, has finally come home to roost. I can't disagree with you there. How J. Rodriguez can't get offside is beyond belief, and Brady, well, words fail me. He's just stealing a wedge. Well, he didn't have long to prove himself today, to be fair. Richard says, let's put the blame where it's deserved. The board's lack of ambition and support can only see more of the same, gifting points to those around us. Reaping what Derek Wiley says, reaping what the board sold by not backing Sean. We all know that we needed to add players before the season started, plus we carried too many injury-prone players. Adam says, always one for being positive, but we could have played till the middle of next week and not look like scoring. Concern is starting to grow, and he'll be honest that he's hoping to get something with the next 2 games. Has to be 4 points minimum. I have to say 6 points minimum. Arthur says, if we didn't buy in the summer to look more healthy for a takeover, then what a stupid decision. I don't think anyone will want to take over a relegated side. Another commenter says, pathetic performance today. No shots on target. That's true. They have to work on their finishing and also the defence. They're the weakest areas. Another one says, embarrassing. No shots on target. Shows no investment. Not a chance team. It's not good enough. Another one says it's becoming embarrassing. What a waste of money that Stevens is. An aging squad. No light whatsoever at the end of the tunnel. They only hope he's Ben Mee, but he's not a miracle worker. Give Dyche the tools to do the job. Thanks to Golick, if we go down, it's on him. Another one says they're out the players are out the depths, sat too deep, nothing in midfield, which is quite true. Everyone going on about Pope for England, forget Pickford, etc. This squad is simply not good enough. Feels there's a few people that pay 15 quid to watch a lot of rubbish here today. A guy called Dave says, we've got away with it for far too long. Garlic thought he'd get another season banking the cash, but it looks as if it's caught up with us. This will be Dyche's loyalty season with us, and then he reckons he'll be off to Crystal Palace. Another guy, embarrassing from Sean Dyche, needs to question himself for that performance. Did this club sign any? I'm not going to mention that one. Let's have a look at more of these comments. Hope Garlic is happy. Going down, definitely. They can't be bothered. The other one says, does that mean well, I'm not going to say much more on them, but those are just some of the comments that are coming on social media tonight at the moment. And It's not looking very, very good at the moment. Here's another comment, and I can't agree with this one more. Garlic, you are a disgrace. You've let the fans down. Just get lost. That sums up the mood amongst the Burnley the Burnley population at the moment. We're hoping to get an interview with some of today's protagonists in this match, but we are still waiting to get reaction. Hopefully we'll hear from Sean Dyche before we finish in around about 10 minutes from now. I'm still looking to see what else we can find here. And I'm trying to look for comments and trying to fill up here. It's very difficult at the moment. I mean, I've just read some of the comments. It's not good enough at the moment. I have to say I agree with most of them. That is for sure. And I've been a staunch Carrot for many, many years now, and it's the worst I've seen it possibly since we've been in the Premier League. There's just not a lot we can do. Let's look on. I'm just looking elsewhere. We can find more comments we can read just to fill the time before we get any interviews. We might be able to get an interview now. Let's see who is on the other end. It is who is it? No, it's certainly in our game. Let's see who it is. I think it might be Mason Mount. Anyway, let's check who it is. Anyway, speaking of the game, Mason Mount.
And try and break them down. We did that, and obviously brilliant to score 3 goals and to get a clean sheet as well.
You mentioned about the fact that you move the ball around well. I mean, you give each other so many options during the match. It looks as if it's really starting to come together. Is that what it feels like to you?
Yeah, definitely. It was always going to take some time for us to all click as a team. But definitely today, it felt like we was moving with each other. We know where each other wanted to go, and it kind of clicked today. So it's exciting stuff when we're playing like that and winning and scoring goals. Now we need to focus on keeping that going and
keep showing and make sure you're in that 11 at the start of the match with so many choices the manager's got.
Yeah, it's a lot of competition in the squad, especially to try and get in the team. But we're all working hard. We're all a group. We're like a family, so all we want to do is win as many games as we can.
I think we've heard just about enough from Mason Mount there. But it is frustrating. Let's keep your comments going on this. Turfcast is still busy rabbiting away there. It has been quite frankly disappointing. Let's have a look at some of the comments now from the Turfcast. With my mate Sam, good as gone, completely shocking. I know I say completely because the first word is a swear word. Hard not to be negative, but will we improve? I don't know. I can't agree with you, Craig. We need a win against Brighton, not a draw. We need to get out that bottom 3. Also, Craig goes on to say, and I do agree with him here, Stevens caught on it again. I don't like singling players out heavy, but the Chelsea press is brilliant, to be honest. Never been concerned in another guy called Anthony says, never been concerned in previous seasons as we've scored goals, but this is different. We are in a real relegation battle, and without scoring, it is going to be very difficult. I agree with that. Craig also says, Stevens keeps lobbing the ball into players' chests and standing on the deck. It's killing Dwight twice to him. That's happened. Just not in the same class as Chelsea. Well, that could be. I think you can't say that. I mean, Thomas makes a good point, and I made it in commentary, that 70% of our passes, and I think he's right about this, are either sideways or backwards. It looks as if the players want to go forward, but then hesitate, and any opportunity is lost. So they have to go backwards or sideways. Also, Graham makes a point. One of the guys says, also Our delivery from corners and set pieces don't look a threat anymore. Doesn't look great. Joey, I think, summed it all up. For me, Dale Stephens is a massive panic buy. It screams it. Doesn't look at the races. Just looks as if he's got about as much interest in football as he does in Corona. Chelsea conceded 1 in 5. Burnley couldn't score in a brothel. Rest of the game writes itself. Johns Corbett says, we're not knocking what Dyche has done for us, but don't get me wrong, but if the club gets sold, will the no owners want to give him money for new players not to get played? I think not. We haven't even looked at the free market, and Dyche used to get so many gone on a free. Scott Arfield, David Jones. Did we even try to approach 3 signings? I mean, Jack Wilshere's out of contract at the moment. Jack Wilshere would be a good player to bring in. James said, bring back Andre Graham playing with Vidra. That would be a great partnership. Good shout there. Yeah, there's just so much negativity, and it's quite right. Matt makes a good point. No fans there. It's not the fortress that Turpor is. It's for those who have shelled out £15 on to watch it on television. It's unbelievable. Lee Claret too. Oh, that's it's Mark Garlick he's telling that, but he's calling him a Karen. Too late. Kevin Garlick won't open his wallet. He knows he's going to keep his money and get more money for selling up. Here's Sean Dyche now talking with Steve Wilson.
They get moving when you look at all the forward players that they've got.
Well, they've invested heavily. Everyone knows that. I've said all along that teams do gel eventually. There's signs of it. I'm sure Frank will want more from his team than just that. There is a gap in the division. We know that. We've been in this division a few years. We understand that. Not remotely do we not go into these games to win, because of course we do. Sometimes you've got to take on a day like today when you're not quite there, and they are. You get punished sometimes. You've got to take that and you just think, right, okay, that's not actually the division we're working in. We've got to get points from other games.
Yeah, chances at a premium again today.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's difficult. Both ends of the pitch in the Premier League. You've got to put it in one end, stop in the other. Difficult task.
Brighton on Friday, another opportunity for you to get that first, and you could do with it sooner rather than later.
Yeah, of course. I mean, make no mistake, I'm not naive in my words. We have to show from performances that we can win games, but then you have to do it. You have to win a game, and sometimes you take a scruffy, ugly one, and that can get you on a different feel going forwards. Every game's an important game in the Premier League, and the next one will certainly be that.
Wish you well.
Thank you.
Well, I think there's a few excuses in that. The attitude, I don't know what to say about that. I don't know what to think about that. Let's get some. I can't fathom that at all. That is for sure. But one thing I do know is that we have to get points and quick. Burnley, that certainly does. I mean, yeah, it's all right for him saying, well, we've got to keep it out and put it in the back of the net. Maybe he should come out publicly and criticise the players, because let's face it, I've seen it today, and he will have seen it, and he will know full well that performance was simply and utterly, don't care whether you're playing against the top or bottom of the league, against any side, that is just not good enough, and I can't make any excuses. There's no point in making excuses. I mean, Sean Dyche is a great manager, fantastic guy. He has been sold down the river by a Scrooge of a chairman. There's no doubt about that, and I've mentioned it on several occasions in the last few months. But there's got to come a point now where this win, the more it goes on, the more, Burnley are likely to go down. And it's sad for me to actually discuss this, because I predicted the Clarets were finishing a nice, healthy little 10th place this season, but it doesn't look as if we're going to finish anywhere near that this season, the way that Burnley have been playing today. It's sad, it's horrible, it's disappointing, it's despondency. Some of the messages I've read on social media tonight don't give me much confidence at all. It has been the most horrible day I can remember for such a long time commentating on Burnley. I mean, I remember a couple of years ago we covered Burnley against Newcastle when I'd never seen such a limp display than that. And me, Chris Whiteman and Russ Vernon spent 3 hours after the game the match was there, but I've never seen such a limp display in all my life. I think this is just beating it, to be quite honest with you. And I mean, let's just not detract from the way that Chelsea played today. I think that's. I mean, we can't detract from that. That is for sure. But these are the 6 games that they played. Burnley losing 4-2, 1-0 to Southampton, a game they should have won. We robbed a bit at Newcastle. West Brom should have won. It's not looking good at the moment, and then obviously they've lost their last 2 to Tottenham and to Chelsea. But they should have taken 6 points from those 2 games. It's not been good enough, and I'm afraid that's where we've got to leave it, folks. It's been a horrible day for Burnley Football Club. Beaten almost to a pulp today, 3-0 by a rampant Chelsea. Let's be fair, Champions League contenders from what I've seen of them today. But for Burnley, a very long road ahead, a very long winter ahead, and maybe Mike Garlick doing things on the cheap may come back to bite the club where it hurts right now. It's a sad day for Burnley, beaten 3-0, all 3 goals defensively preventable. But let's not detract from Frank Lampard's men. They now move into the top 4, and good luck to them. I think they look a very glass outfit, and I look forward to commentating them again as the season develops. Ziyech looks a good, from a Chelsea point of view, I think Ziyech looks a good player. Zuma and Thiago struck up a very good partnership, I thought, today at the back. And Werner looks every inch the money that they've spent on him, and I think they can go forward from here. I think they're a good side, Chelsea. They've jumped up a lot of places today. It's tight, but they're up to 4th. As for Burnley, started the day in 18th. They're now bottom of the league on goal difference. Long, hard winter ahead. Take care. Have a fantastic evening, and we'll see you all soon next week, because Burnley will be featuring next in a must-win game on Friday night. It'll be over on JB Sports YouTube channel, live commentary of the match, and that'll be with you at around about 5:15 Friday night. That is our next live football on JB Sports. But today at Turf Moor, it has been a complete and utter disaster for Burnley. Unbeaten to a pulp, basically. 3-0 by a very good Chelsea side who look a really good force. From a disappointed Burnley fan and your commentator this afternoon, JB, enjoy the rest of your Saturday. Have a happy Halloween, but it won't be a happy Halloween for Burnley Football Club. Plenty of food for thought. From me, JB, good night.